Well, big brother, what is that lovely smell?
Dear sister, I believe we have house guests on their way. Mumsy calls this shared cutery.
Oh, well, I have no idea what that means, but I smell so many cheeses and meats and yummy things. If she means to share it, why did she put it up so high?
Perhaps, dear sister, to keep it from the farmhouse mice we are contractually obligated to ignore.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, big brother, how long do we have to wait? I smell cheddar and gouda and Swiss and sausage and pepperoni and cheddar and mozzarella and Havarti and cheddar and oh, big brother, I'm so hungry.
Fear not, dear sister, I shall give you a boost.
I am so small and oh so very hungry. When troubles come and food is out of reach, then I am still and wait here in the kitchen until you come and offer to help me. You raise me up so I can reach the table. You raise me up with orange and furry knees. I am tall when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up so I can reach the cheese. Ah!
Welcome to CounterCultureWISE, a Stormcat production, with your hosts Melanie Hope and James Monis. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the hosts, our guests, and the dog, and do not necessarily reflect the views of any of our platforms, our advertisers, or any other dog.
As you listen today, please remember, we are so much more than a podcast. All of our stories we discuss are linked in our show notes on CounterCultureWISE.com. Visit there for commentary, guest photos and links, animations, and fun merchandise.
If you have a story idea or would like to be a guest on our show, contact us via our website. You can also follow us on Twitter, Gab, Instagram, Facebook, and all over social media where we'll post memes, cat pics, and commentary that gets us booted off on a regular basis.
If you're watching our live show, hit like and join the chat. If you're listening dead, well, you can still hit like, share, subscribe, and comment, but please stop voting Democrat. I forgot to turn off the fan. I bet you that was a lovely sound for our audience. Well, welcome everybody to another CounterCultureWISE show. We have a really, really fun show for you today because it's all about Fritzy's favorite thing, cheese. And she happens to be in the room with us. Actually, everybody is in the room with us.
They're
We
all,
have three
they've
cats
all,
and
they
a
all had
dog.
an agreement to be quiet.
All
so
in the room, and they all
have to
promise
toss them
that
out
they
of the
behave
studio.
themselves. Yeah, so hopefully Max won't take over the mic like he usually does. But let's hope that they all behave themselves. Welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your hostess with the mostest, or at least a lot of stuff anyway. My name is
She's got a lot.
Melanie. I got a lot going on. I got junk in my trunk, let me tell you. Melanie Hope, that's me. Yes, sirree,
Yes, it is.
Babaruski.
The
And
Melanie
with
Hope.
me, yeah, not just any Melanie Hope. I am the Melanie Hope, and don't let anybody tell you anything otherwise. I'm the one. And with me is my co-host, my husband, my very best friend next to Jesus, and of course, my sweet babu, Mr. James Monis.
And what a friend she does have
What
in
a
said
friend
Jesus.
we have in Jesus.
All right.
Yardy, yardy, da,
Well,
da.
I've already gotten ahead of my new job because I was reading how to land that job articles before I got this, and it always says dress for the job you want, not for the job you have.
Is that why you've been wearing a clown makeup?
Yes, that's exactly why.
That's not what that was.
No, but
okay.
that was just as good. I'm just gonna leave it
No,
alone.
you gotta say the real one.
So I went in as Batman.
I like that. I like the Batman. That's a good angle.
What are you, some kind of Joker?
Funny.
Yeah.
Yes. Alrighty. Well, we don't usually like to start our show talking about dead people, but we had some significant losses this
the
week.
Passing of an absolute legend.
Yeah.
We couldn't let this one go.
Yeah.
Did you want to start by singing, or
Do you want me to sing? Okay, guess I could do that. Well, I think people will know who we're talking about. Let's see here. Busted flat in Baton Rouge, waiting for a train. I was feeling as faded as my jeans. Bobby thumbed a diesel down just before it rained. That rode us all the way to New Orleans. I pulled my harpoon out of my dirty red bandana. I was playing soft while Bobby sang the blues, yeah. Windshield wiper slapping time. I was holding Bobby's hand in mine. We sang every song that driver knew. And freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing, don't mean nothing if it ain't free. No. Yeah, feeling good was easy, love, when we sang the blues. You know, feeling good was good enough for me. Good enough for me and my Bobby McGee. Good song.
Yeah, the legendary
Yeah.
actor, singer, Rhodes Scholar.
He was a good actor, too.
And heck of a good-looking guy.
He was a Rhodes Scholar? I did not know that.
Yes.
Holy moly.
We'll find out more about that in a moment.
Okay.
But my mom had a gigantic crush on
Well,
this
who
guy.
wouldn't? He was a good-looking dude.
Yeah, he was that
Real
rugged,
good-looking dude.
good-looking guy, and
Yeah.
just amazing. Chris Christopherson, the legendary country singer and acclaimed actor, died peacefully in his home in Maui, Hawaii.
How old was he?
88.
Wow. It's hard to... I just, they're forever that age in my head, and it ain't no 88.
You think of him around the time, like the 70s, when he did A Star Is Born with
Yeah.
Barb.
Yeah, and I just watched that recently because I had never seen it.
The version with Chris, yeah.
Yeah, because I wanted to see the
I've ever
version
seen.
with Gaga. So I thought, well, I can't watch that version until I've seen, the...
They're different. They're very different, but the storyline is about the same. No cause of death has been given as of now. Christopherson's career in music.
He was 88. What cause of death do we need?
Yeah, that's pretty much. That's a good cause of death. Being
I
88.
think it's a pretty... Yeah.
He made 18 studio albums. He appeared in dozens of theatrical and television movies between the 70s and the 2010s. He won 3 competitive Grammys from 13 nominations and also nominated for an Academy Award and won a Golden Globe. His gravelly voice and complex poetic lyricism made him a favorite among his contemporaries. He was born in Brownsville, Texas in 1936. His creative career began as a literature student at Pomona College, where he wrote essays that the Atlantic Monthly published. During college, he also competed in rugby, football, and track and field, so he appeared in Sports Illustrated in 1958. That same year, he received a Rhodes Scholarship and attended Oxford, where he studied poetry, became an accomplished boxer, and wrote some of his earliest songs. After he earned his master's... I
knew none of this.
Yeah,
this is insane.
This is some insane stuff. The guy had a really varied life. He was a true Renaissance man. After he earned his master's, he joined the U.S. Army and became a helicopter pilot.
What?
And, no, seriously. He formed a band while stationed in West Germany. After he left the Army, he moved to Nashville, where he worked as a janitor at Columbia Records while writing songs. There, Christopherson met June Carter, whom he gave a demo tape of his music to pass along to her husband, Johnny Cash. After weeks without a reply,
That's awesome.
Christopherson landed a helicopter in Cash's yard to get his attention.
That would definitely
get attention. Cash wasn't there at the time.
Oh, bugger.
It's probably a good thing.
Oh.
He wrote songs.
I think Johnny would have taken that in stride.
They worked together a lot in the future, in later years. That group, the Highwaymen, with those two and Waylon and Willie. Oh my gosh, great group. He wrote songs that became moderate hits for other performers, including Dave Dudley, Ray Stevens, Jerry Lee Lewis, and eventually Cash. He signed to Epic in 1967 and later Monument Records, where he released his debut album in 1970 titled Christofferson. I listened to it for the first time last year. You know, almost every song in there became a standard.
Yeah.
You know,
He's
Sunday
a
morning
lot like
coming
Barry
down
Manilow and
okay.
in his
Yeah.
whole writing the world that makes the whole song sing.
Yeah, that one.
Let's say that. That sounds good. We're nothing if not professional here at CounterCultureWISE Studios.
It was renamed Me and Bobby McGee in 1971 because it came after Christofferson's ex-girlfriend. Her name happened to be Janice.
Oh, I didn't realize they actually did.
I didn't either until I read this. Recorded Me and Bobby McGee for her album Pearl, which was released posthumously, and it was a #1 hit. You know, made him lots of money. He also wrote songs for Joe Simon, Bobby Bare, Kenny Rogers, and more. His first Grammy was for Help Me Make It Through the Night, winning Best Country Song. There's a photo of him with his then-wife, Rita Coolidge. Though he released several albums in the 70s, he spent the latter part of the decade launching his acting career. So he was in The Last Movie, Cisco Pike, Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, which I've seen and is really good. A supporting role in Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. He was in the movie Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, which was the basis for the TV show Alice. I've seen the TV show, never the movie.
Yeah, I've never seen the movie.
He was in A Star Is Born. That was his best well-known movie with Barbara Streisand. It was the second highest grossing movie of the year, 76, behind Rocky.
You know what? I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I loved his performance. I even liked her performance, but I really hated the movie. It's just bad.
Yeah. It's a horrible story. I mean, it's so depressing. He was also in the infamous flop movie Heaven's Gate, but I saw the movie and he was good in that one.
I think I remember that movie, but that was a long
It was
time
1980.
ago.
It crashed a movie studio. It was so bad. It cost $44 million to make, which in 1980 was a bunch of money, and it tanked. He was inducted in the Nashville Hall of Fame, the Songwriters Hall of Fame, the Country Music Hall of Fame, Lifetime Achievement Grammy, Lifetime Achievement
every
CMA.
stinking one of them.
Yeah.
Every stinking one of them
So
he
he was
deserves.
also, like I said, in Heaven's Gate, Flashpoint, Millennium, Lone Star, the Blade Trilogy,
Really?
Planet of the Apes, Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, and Dolphin Tale duology. He is survived by his wife, Lisa Myers, 8 children, and 7 grandchildren. So raise a glass to this legendary guy. He was one of a kind. He will be missed.
Tink.
Tink.
There's water in that one.
Thank you.
He raises his empty glass. Poor man. Tink. Well, here's
water.
to you, Mr. Christofferson. I had no idea he was that old. He will forever be this
He's
age.
always this picture of him with his guitar. That's how I remember him.
Guitar. Can't find the picture of the guitar.
That's okay. The guitar.
Where's the picture of him?
Somewhere up there.
That one! There we go.
That's how I remember him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and then he was. I mean, and he aged very well.
He aged extremely
He
well.
aged in a Clint Eastwood.
Sorry your crush is dead, Mom.
Sorry, Mama. Sorry, Mama.
She butt dialed me today. It was funny.
That was cute.
Yeah.
Because usually when she calls you, there's something she needs to tell you. So for her butt dialing you, that's cute.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along to the next dead person.
Next dead person. Your turn.
My
Because
turn.
I'm not as into the Harry Potter franchise as you are.
Well, I was really into Downton Abbey. So
yeah.
So this one hurts a little bit. Maggie Smith. I mean, when you think of somebody in their 80s, that's who you think of.
Yeah.
So you don't think of Chris Christofferson, and yet they're the same age. It's just that we didn't get to know her until later.
Right. Although she had a
Yeah,
long career.
a long-
Movies that I saw when I was a kid, I didn't make the connection.
Yeah, a long, beautiful career. It's just we don't, we don't know. Well, at least us youngins don't know them all. So, yep, Dame Maggie Smith, one of Britain's best-known actresses whose long career ranged from starring opposite Laurence Olivier in Othello. I have not seen that, but I would love to. On stage in roles in Harry Potter, which, of course, our younger folks will recognize her, and Downton Abbey, where I met her and loved her. And she was 89.
Yeah.
That is a good ripe age.
I
It
think
is
it's
with
a
great
good age
sadness we have to announce the death of Dame Maggie Smith. She passed away peacefully in
There's nothing
hospital
like a
early
dame.
this morning. An intensely private person, she was with friends and family at the end. She leaves 2 sons and 5 loving grandchildren who are devastated by the loss of their extraordinary mother and grandmother. She had a wonderful sense of humor. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank the wonderful staff at the Chelsea Westminster Hospital for their care and unstinting kindness during her final days. Okay, I don't understand half those words, but okay. She was born in 1934 in Ilford, then a middle class. Oh, God. I was born middle class. Yeah. London suburb shortly before the start of World War II. The family moved to Oxford, where her father worked as a pathologist. Not a pathologist, but a pathologist. That's the thing. I don't know. At Oxford University. A lot of highfalutin pinky lifting there. And graduating from high school, Smith attended the Oxford Playhouse School from 1951 to 53, making her stage debut in an Oxford University Dramatic Society production of William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. She went on to appear on Broadway in New Faces of 1956 and then held the lead comedian role in the London Revue Share My Lettuce between 1957
I'd love
and
to see a
1958.
show called Share My
Share My
Lettuce.
Lettuce. Yeah. She soon began appearing regularly in plays at the Old Vic Theatre in London. Anyways, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. You can find the links on
very
CounterCultureWISE.
long and varied career, very beloved and respected.
Show. This is how I know her.
Yeah.
This is how I know her.
I'm going to have to watch that sometime.
The Dowager Countess. Oh, you get so involved. I did stop watching, though, when they killed off my favorite characters. Same thing with The Walking Dead. You kill off my favorite characters, I'm out. So, but yeah,
my favorite on that show is the guy with the baseball bat covered in.
See, he's the one who killed my favorite character.
Yeah, well, that figures.
I didn't like him. He's a terrible
Nobody
character.
likes him. That's why he's my favorite
horrible character.
He's a horrible guy.
Yeah, he's just evil. Anyways, the twinkle in her eye. May that twinkle forever sparkle in the sky. We will miss you. And she had a good, long, prosperous life, and we are all blessed to have had her.
We are moving from dead people to dead retailers.
One last light.
This is
going
really
out.
sad for any of us who grew up in the 50s, 60s, 70s when this store was
this
at
was
its
a part of my childhood. I remember going to the one in Kent.
Yeah.
Which I guess later
became
Pay and Pack, and then that went away too.
Yeah.
No. Those are on opposite sides of Kent. Anyways, yeah, with the popcorn.
Well, there
and
was
the
one in Renton that became
and...
a hardware store. I mean, it's sad. Anyway, the last full-sized Kmart.
Where else can you get layaway and pay on it for years?
I know. It was
that was the thing.
Oh well. Kmart, one of America's most iconic department store chains, is closing its last full-size store in the United States this fall. The store, located in Bridgehampton, New York, on the South Fork of Long Island, will close its doors for good on October 20th. An employee confirmed to WJAR.
I just still cannot believe that Kmart of all places. I mean, that is so much part of our. Even young kids know what a blue light special is.
Off the beaten path here, but the company that owned Sears and Kmart, they were all about selling off the property because the real estate was more important.
Bad leadership.
Yeah, crappy leadership. I'm sure the website will still be there so you can order stuff, but it's not the same. Real estate investment trust Kimco Realty, which owns the shopping center, also confirmed the store would be closing. According to Newsday, Kimco did not share any details about why the store was closing. A smaller Kmart,
nobody shops there. That would be the detail.
That'd be the detail. A smaller Kmart in Miami, Florida will remain open, but it pales in comparison to the storefronts the big box store chain used to operate in its heyday. When I lived in Atlanta, there was one huge one that was actually 2 stories. It was not something you saw.
A 2-story Kmart?
A 2-story Kmart.
Wow.
Each story was gigantic. And yeah, you'd go down the escalator into the the basement floor, which had the Christmas trees and the hardware and stuff.
The basement, the one in... Oh, no, it didn't have a basement. I'm thinking of Sears.
Yeah, Sears had a basement.
That's where the washing machines were.
Right.
Yeah.
That
Gosh,
Sears
they had
Sears
good
at South Center
appliances.
is still there. It's one of the very few left.
It's still a Sears?
Yeah, it's still Sears and it's still there.
I love
Miami
that Sears.
location of Kmart.
South Center, for those who don't know, is in the southern part of Washington State, just south of...
Central, yo.
Just south of
And
Seattle.
it has that vibe, yo.
Still does.
Despite the fact that they really tried to gentrify it and make it a better shopping mall.
It's still ghetto.
It's ghetto.
Yeah.
Ghetto AF.
Ghetto AF, yeah.
The Miami location is closer in size to a CVS or the convenience store, according to an August report. However,
That's an itty-bitty
Kmart
one.
still has several stores outside the states that will remain open in the U.S., Virgin Islands, and Guam.
What? Guam?
Kmart's origins date back to 1899 when Sebastian Sparing Kresge founded his first store, a modest 5-and-dime in Detroit, according to Transformco, the jerks holding company that owned Kmart.
Ruined it all. They ruined it all.
Kresge quickly expanded his reach over the next decade under the name SS Kresge Company, and by 1912 had 85 stores around the U.S. The first official Kmart opened in Garden City, Michigan in 1962. That same year, 17 additional stores opened around the U.S. Now, that was the same year that Sam Walton launched Walmart, and also the year that Dayton Hudson launched the Target stores.
Where was Walmart launched? Because
Arkansas.
Walmart was like a brand new thing to us in Washington, and it was
No,
a big
it was in
deal.
Arkansas, and the first ones I went to were in the 80s when I lived in Alabama.
Yeah, I don't think it was like
They didn't
90s, even aughts before
Yeah, the
I saw
90s and aughts
Walmart.
before they moved into the Seattle market.
Yeah, and I didn't really shop at Walmart until we moved to Vegas.
Right.
Because, I mean, you could throw a rock without hitting a Walmart.
We went to the one outside the super mall in Auburn, and then they moved that one to the other side of the super mall for reasons I don't know. It didn't really look any different.
I barely remember that.
Yeah, well, I barely remember it now.
I remember Target.
So
Target was a big deal because first it had its own... It was over there by the Toys R Us, which is now empty as well.
Right.
And then they moved into the mall and it took over the whole back end of the mall.
Well, I mean,
that
that took up the space that was Mervyn's, which is another once successful store that went bye-bye. You
But
know,
Mervyn's
I think
was
we've
basically
just
a more
changed.
expensive Sears.
Things have changed.
Yeah.
We've gone to the... I mean,
Back in my day!
Target and Walmart still exist because of the big box discount stores.
Yeah.
You got stores like Best Buy. You got these gigantic stores. The mom and pops are gone. Everybody's buying, and we're not any different.
Don't got Big Lots no more.
No, Big Lots is going too. But we all shop online. Amazon is great.
Yeah.
But it's, the public's needs have changed. The public's, we can shop, we can eat, we can do everything and not ever leave our
Walmart
home.
was the first one to do the pickup and the online grocery shopping before the pandemic.
Right. I mean, there used to be grocery stores that would deliver to your house, but that was different.
Well, back then there was like 5 houses in town to deliver to.
Right.
Now it's just there are too many people. It's saturated.
So Kmart had 2,300 stores at its height, and now it's got
350,000 employees.
Tiny, blah, blah. Melanie was one.
Briefly, they paid cash. Your paychecks were in cash.
I'll be darned.
At least the one I worked at.
That's shady.
I got fired.
That's really shady.
Yeah, I got fired from Kmart. They brought me into the office, and I had the shortest lines because I was a cashier. I had the shortest lines because what would happen is if they would bring the item and it had the UPC code and it wouldn't scan, I would just type it in and move along. Well, apparently, if you don't scan, it didn't hit whatever metric they needed you to hit. And that upset them very much. Well, the customers la-herved me because if it didn't scan, you'd have to do price check and then sit there and wait and do the thing and whatever. But if you just typed it in, boom, Bob's your uncle, off you go. And since I had taken, I was in accounting at the time.
So you
I was
knew
learning,
how to enter numbers and letters
yeah,
quickly.
I 10 key 210. Yeah. That was our goal was 210 digits a minute. 210 a minute. So I was like, boink, boink, so if it didn't scan,
So it
off it would
didn't
go.
properly record the inventory.
Well, it did, though, because you still had to enter the blasted thing. But their metric was based on the beep, apparently. So they called me into the office, and they said, and I am not making this up, ladies and gentlemen, I am not making this up.
She swears.
You are not Kmart material. And I said, oh, does the blue light clash with my skin tone?
You have never told me that.
I have been fired more times than I care to mention. I get fired a lot. But I have never been fired in a situation where I was like thanking them. When they told me I wasn't Kmart material, I was like, thank you. Thank you. It was like getting the Oscar. They love me. They love me. I am not Kmart material.
Oh,
Yay. Okay, so granted, rent was hard that week, but I was so happy I was not Kmart material. That was the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. outside of you calling me Angel Face. That was pretty nice, but yeah. Being told I'm not Angel Face, not Kmart material, they're up there, like neck and neck. Yeah.
They even had their own internet service for a while, bluelight.com.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Now, see, things like that would have kept them ahead of the game, but then they sold to a moron, and that was that. Just like Sears lost Craftsman. I mean, that is a heartbreak.
Well, they were smart, in a way, because they were getting rid of the stores, but they understood the value of brands like Kenmore and Craftsman.
Yeah.
So those still exist, even though
best commercials, the Kenmore best commercials.
Yeah. So.
Hey, our audience is back. We got Newts on the window.
Newts on the window.
I do love that we have a live audience here at CounterCultureWISE.
So before we talk about this next thing, it's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard because you kind of want to be on his side, but
which is really difficult because he's
such a jerk.
But but he owned up. He owned up to the truth because he was, New York City was a sanctuary city and whatever. So they started Texas, he started sending a bunch of illegals.
And
I'm sorry, undocumented migrants. I work for the state of Texas now.
Oh, for crying out loud. They're illegals. They're illegal aliens. Let's just call them what they are.
Eating all fine.
Yeah. So fish-eating vegan mayor, as we like to call him, or Chuck likes to call him. By the way, there will be a Chuck this week, so it's he is out in the field doing research, but he will be on this week. So do tune in for Chuck's grand adventures, at least the Chuck report.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, our friend Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted on federal criminal charges because he spoke truth to power. And
it's true, because what he's being, like I said, I really hate being on this guy's side because he really is a jerk. But what they're bringing him up on is so tiny. It's basically like a fine, a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
Hillary did 200 billion times worse, and she just got a slap on the wrist and a fine.
She shows up in Chuck's report.
Oh, I bet she does.
Yeah. So he was indicted, making him the first mayor in New York to be charged while in office. Due to the indictment,
and he didn't even get good. I mean, they're saying, he got paid for traveling, and he didn't get good seats. He didn't get private jets or anything.
Yeah. The indictment comes following an investigation on whether he conspired with the Turkish government to funnel illegal foreign donations into his coffers in exchange for pressing the fire department to approve a new high-rise Turkish consulate in Midtown despite safety concerns.
Okay, that sounds really bad.
The indictment comes after Adams' police commissioner, his school's chancellor, and his health commissioner all bugged off from their positions. On September 5th, FBI raided the homes of two of his top aides, First Deputy Mayor Sheena Wright and Deputy Mayor for Public Safety Phil Banks. New York City Hall Chief Counsel Lisa Zornberg also resigned from her position following the resignation of NYPD Commissioner Edward Caban after the road.
Am I just weird, or is this whole FBI raiding your home and your office thing kind of... I mean, you never heard about this before.
This has become
and
a
now,
cliche.
like, FBI's raiding everybody.
It's a cliche.
It's like the Spanish Inquisition. Like, every time you open the door, nobody expects,
Yeah.
Why? Why are we doing this all of a sudden? This is like everybody's getting FBI raided. Everybody. And you get an FBI raid. And you get an FBI raid.
And anyway, he once called himself the future of the Democratic Party and the Biden of Brooklyn. Boy, I hope he took that. He retracted that.
Who calls themselves that?
He called himself
Why would you call
that.
yourself the Biden of anything?
Don't know. However, the mayor's chances of winning a second term as well as serving out the remainder of his term are in jeopardy. There's calls for his resignation. Not surprising.
But who they want to stick in, she's awful.
Oh, Jermaine Williams? She's pretty
awful.
She'd be so far to the left, she'd be right. It'd be stupid.
Which is what they want.
Yeah. And he said, I always knew that if I stood my ground for New Yorkers, that I would be a target. And a target I became, Mr. Adams, 64, said in a statement
Too old to be in office, by the way.
If I am charged, I am innocent, and I will fight this with every ounce of my strength and spirit. I think this is because he called out the Biden-Harris regime, and I'm not going to separate the two names until after November 5th, but whatever.
It is the Biden-Harris regime.
And
I call it the Harris-Biden regime, let's just be honest.
The Hyde embarrassed regime.
Even Biden himself says she's the one who was running things.
Well, half the time he doesn't even know what room he's in or what color his pants are.
He knows what chocolate ice cream is, though.
Yeah. So he's he finally realized that the toll that illegal migration has been taking on the city of New York, and he was fighting it, and he called out the administration on it. And I think that's the basis of all of this. They're just flexing their muscles. And I'm not saying that he's innocent. I'm not saying he's a saint. He could have very well done these things. It just smells bad to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just smells bad.
And like I said, I'm not on his side by any stretch of the imagination because he is an awful, awful human being. And I've never liked him. He's a joke. Yet, kind of on his side for this one. I hate to admit it. I'm kind of on his side on this one.
That's all right. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We got lots of time. Nothing but.
Lots of time.
What is this nonsense about the former Walt Disney Company?
Well,
sorry, I call it the former Walt Disney Company.
This is the rentable question of the week.
The people who run this have no idea what his legacy was.
Well, this rant is more about the reporting of the question than it is about the actual issue.
Okay.
So, you know the characters that they dress up, the
Sure.
people and the costumes and whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay. And you know how Disney's gone completely woke and everything. So there was this big pushback about Tinkerbell. If you watch the original movie, the original cartoon, is jealous of Peter Pan and Wendy.
Right.
And because she's adorable, apparently the body positivity folks have an issue with her. So she was actually pulled.
She's a fairy. She's not even a real. It's not.
But people would dress up as her.
Yeah.
So she was pulled as a character from one of the parks. Okay.
Oh, crap.
So then, some folks started talking about it as if it were a big thing, and then of course it became, Republicans pounce or react or whatever, because the story is never about the story. The story is about how the opposition reacts to it. So I'm never saying it right. Routers.
It's actually pronounced Reuters.
Reuter.
You could have asked me before the show.
I could have, but it's more fun to make fun of them because they're so terrible. I don't care to pronounce their name correctly.
It's a French company. It's going to be pronounced
Reuter. Ha ha. Okay, I'll lift
my...
Yeah. Anyway, they did a fact check, which of course means they got their
They
facts.
lie.
Yeah. So I just thought I would go through this fact check, which, let's face it, if you're going to do a fact check, you should check facts, not fifis, not your emotions, not what you think. You need to check the facts. So I want to just read this article because it's kind of funny.
I want to apologize. Reuters is actually a British company.
Yeah.
Just Want to be
Pass the Grey
fact
Poupon.
checking. I was fact
I
checking
really
myself.
honestly don't care. I just really honestly don't care. Okay, so no, Disney has not removed Tinkerbell the fairy from Peter Pan from all its parks or events because she is problematic, a spokesperson for the company said. Now, right out of the gate, nobody ever at all, not once, ever has said that Disney has removed Tinkerbell from all of its parks. In fact, the article that was talking about this said Disney World. Where is Disney World?
Florida.
Okay. How many parks is that?
That, let's see, carry the 5. 1.
One. Yes. So, at no time has anybody ever said that Disney has removed them from all parks. Not even a thing. So the first sentence out of the gate is a lie. They continue. Everything in works turns to crap.
Right.
Tinkerbell is being canceled now, reads the caption of a social media post, sharing an image of the fairy with the text, Disney cuts Tinkerbell from meet and greets, labeling her as a problematic character. Unfortunately, when I saved this, it did not give me the actual picture. So I'm going to go see if I can find it.
And while she's finding it, drop everything.
Oh, wait, I have a thing for that. You need to warn me. Warn me
was-
about this. Drop everything.
Drop everything.
Yes.
And go to our website.
Hit
and-
like, hit share, hit subscribe. Tell
buy
your
our
friends,
stuff
tell your
and-
neighbors, tell your enemies.
Yes.
And folks, if you're enjoying this and you're on, I don't know, Apple or any of those places where you can hit starred reviews, give us a, let's see, 440,000
440,000
star review. Yeah.
Doesn't that take a while?
Well, it does. I mean, you have to keep hitting it. But here's the thing. If you're not enjoying the show, don't be like, those bozos that 1 or 2 stars, 0. That's it. Insult us. Be mean. Make it hurt. Make it 5 stars. That's like a 2 penny tip.
Mind. My already
It's so rude.
damaged
It's so obnoxious.
soul would
Yeah,
be so
it is
upset.
so obnoxious. Just the 5 stars is like, that's like a knife to the gut. So if you really hate what we're doing, 5 stars. If you love what we're doing, 440 billion. Let's do this. Did I say million the first time? I don't care.
It matters not.
It matters not.
So
Okay.
where's the picture? I mean,
Well, I'm trying to find. Vamp. I
just loaned
waka, waka,
a
waka,
bunch of
waka.
money to a friend of mine.
Oh, you know what? It just says false. Okay.
Never mind.
Problematic, I guess. Yeah, it's stupid. It's just got a red circly thing and the word false.
Anyhow.
They have a quote. Well, I guess I could bring it in. Let's go ahead and bring it in. It's kind of stupid. Make it bigger. They have the quote from the rep. So, boink. There we go. Tinkerbell, unfortunately, has become a problematic image for our guests, specifically young girls, specifically in terms of the portrayal of an unrealistic body image, as well as dependency of approval and or attention from Peter Pan, as seen in previous incarnations of the character. We feel these traits are no longer representative of our inclusive, focused values, and thus are currently in process of redesigning an updated Tinkerbell for modern audiences. Disney Rep May 2024.
So she's going to be a fat black broad?
But they're saying that they did not do this. The post shares statement attributed to Disney Rep.
Yeah, you know why.
People took the post seriously, with one comment saying inclusive equals exclusive, which is true. When asked about the statement going around on social media, Disney spokesperson said the online posts are completely false. It is not completely false. There's no evidence of Tinkerbell being permanently removed from all its parks or events. They did not say all. At no point did anybody say all. Walt Disney Company and Walt Disney World made no such update either, although Walt Disney World is the place that did that. In February this year, the company said that Tinkerbell would not have, oh golly, look at this, even their own thing, will not have a meet and greet at Disney World in Florida. Interesting.
Although she would still figure
She would still
events.
feature in other events like a nighttime fireworks show where nobody could see her. The page says the character meet and greets change at the parks and that Tinkerbell has a meet and greet at Disneyland in California. Did they say why she would not have a meet and greet? Huh? Yeah? No? Okay, some of the social media posts feature a screenshot of an Instagram post about May 7th article by The Street. The supposed Disney rep statement does not appear in The Street story, and it does not say Tinkerbell was canceled. The article, titled Disney World Cuts Classic Character from Meet and Greets Amid Scrutiny, connects the halted Tinkerbell meet and greet in Orlando with a 2022 New York Times report that said Tinkerbell was flagged internally as potentially problematic as she is body conscious and seeks Peter Pan's attention, according to the Times. So now they're saying, okay,
She's
the
got
New York
wings.
Times...
I'd be self-conscious too.
Yeah. The New York Times reported this, and it's true. And so then this other outlet reported on it and said, wow, this is not cool. And because they said it's not cool, it must not be true. But the New York Times reported it, so it must be true. So the verdict is that it's misleading. She has not been canceled by Disney, but that was not what they said. The character still features at park events, and Disney said in a statement about Tinkerbell attributed to a company representative is false. But they just said that the New York Times reported it. So basically it's true, but it's false because it's inconvenient for us. So now it's false, but even though we're going to tell you it was true, and we're even going to quote where we learned that it was true, but it's false because we don't like it.
I'm really, really confused, and I want to move on to news of the cheese and wonderful.
News of the cheese. News of the cheese and wonderful, folks. That is exactly...
CounterCultureWISE is proud to present News of the Weird
Cheese!
and Wonderful. Here are your hosts, Melanie Hope and
James
Jim
Moan
Monis.
Cheese.
That is exactly what we're going to have today is news of the cheese
and the
wonderful.
cheese eaters.
Yes, and cheese eaters. This
Cheese
one, not
eaters.
so much cheese, but peanut butter.
Yeah, but it's still about
Cheese.
cheese.
It's all about cheese.
'Cause rats eat cheese.
Did I ever share this? Well, I think I shared the story with you, but did I ever share the story with our listeners about my sister and I having a job in the same company?
No, I don't think we've shared that. So why don't you do that first, because that's really funny.
Way back in the day when my baby sister was just starting in the working world, I got her a job at the company I was working for, obviously in totally different departments, and she was very good at her job. And
she's a good worker.
She really is. She's got a very good work ethic. And we, because we're sisters and everything, we would get together at lunch, and our big thing was we would build like these gorgeous salads, and we'd do the cheese, and we'd each bring different pieces and parts, and we'd have, the ham and the chicken and the cheese and the whatever. And for some reason, the vice president, is a small company, got it in his head that we were conspiring against the company or something. I don't know what it was, but this man, every day, we would just be, talking about stupid stuff, fashion, makeup, whatever, making our salads, laughing, telling jokes and whatever. And he would find a reason to come in. And it was always stupid. Like he'd come in and he'd just look in the cupboards, but never take anything or use anything. Or
He was being blatant, in other words.
Yeah, he'd come in and he'd look at the coffee maker and pick it up, and if there was coffee there, he'd just put it back and not take a cup of coffee. And a couple of times we kind of caught him just kind of hanging by the door, so we realized dude's listening, and we don't know why, because we weren't talking about the company at all.
Certainly not about him.
Yeah. And I worked in the accounting department, and she worked at, appointments and whatnot. I'm not going to share what company it was, but it got to the point where she and I would just kind of look at each other, and you know how sisters have that thing where you can read each other's thoughts. So one day he walks in and he's doing the thing with the cupboards, literally not taking anything out of the cupboards, just kind of wanting to be in the room while we're talking. And as soon as he walks in, I just look at my sister and I say, "And that's how you make cheese." And we both just went silent until he left. And Felicity caught on instantly. So every time he did that, one of us would say, "And that's how you make cheese." And then we'd both just stop talking and eat.
How long did that go before he finally stopped?
About a week.
Really?
And then Felicity calls me, and she was in the front office, so she didn't have a lot of privacy.
Right.
So she calls me because I'm upstairs in the accounting office, and she says, "I just heard Steve talking to the boss, And he said something about how we're obsessed with cheese and he doesn't understand it.
Oh, middle management
Oh
people.
my God, and we just died laughing. It was great. It was great. So that was our thing. Every time he walked in, that's how you make cheese. And then we wouldn't talk anymore. So yeah, if you really want to stop people from, I don't know why that was his thing, but every time we got together, he had to be there. He had to be listening. So that's what we did. Anyways, so that's how you make cheese.
Outstanding.
Okay. Let's read this first one. They wish we could make cheese, but instead we're using peanut butter.
Juneau, Alaska. On an island of windswept tundra in the Bering Sea, hundreds of miles from mainland Alaska, a resident sitting outside their home saw, well, did they see it? They're pretty sure they saw it. A rat.
Oh, no!
The purported sighting would not have gotten attention in many places around the world, certainly not in Texas, but it caused a stir on St. Paul Island, which is part of the Pribilof Islands, a birding haven, sometimes called the Galapagos of the North for its diversity of life. I'd be willing to go along with the freezing to get some photos. That sounds amazing.
I have been up there, and it is gorgeous.
That's because rats that stow away on vessels can quickly populate and overrun remote islands, devastating bird populations by eating eggs, chicks, or even adults and upending once vibrant ecosystems. Shortly after receiving the residents' report in June, wildlife officials arrived at the apartment complex and crawled through nearby grasses, around the building, and under the porch, looking for tracks, chew marks, or droppings.
Rats are pretty good at letting you know they're there.
Yeah, they are. They baited traps with peanut butter and set up trail cameras to capture any confirmation of the rat's existence, but so far have found no evidence. We know because
they probably saw Chihuahua.
Probably. We know because we've seen this on other other islands and in other locations in Alaska and across the world. The rats absolutely decimate seabird colonies, so the threat is never one that the community would take lightly, said Lauren Devine, director at the Aleut Community of St. Paul Islands Ecosystem Conservation Office.
That's a heck of a name.
Blah, blah. The anxiety on St. Paul Island is the latest development amid long-standing efforts to get or keep non-native rats off some of the most remote but ecologically diverse islands in Alaska and around the world. Rodents have been removed successfully from hundreds of islands worldwide, including one in Alaska's Aleutian chain, formerly known as Rat Island, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. But such efforts can take years and cost millions of dollars, so prevention is considered the best defense.
Wait, hold on. Including one in that chain, and it was known as Rat Island because it had one rat?
No, I'm sure there were probably more than one. It doesn't say
there. But it says one, including one. Rodents have been removed from hundreds of islands worldwide.
One island.
One island.
One
okay.
island, honey.
I read that wrong.
Yes, you certainly did.
Yeah, stop sticking your tongue out. They can't see you, spaz. If you had any idea what Jim looks like, you wouldn't listen to our podcast. Okay. Actually, it'd be so cute because we could just pan around the room at all the critters.
The fabulous Fitzy Fats.
Yes.
The
fluffy,
star of
Princess
She's So
Fluffy
Fritzy, which we need to bring back.
Well, we did. She brought us in the show today.
That's true. She did.
Song.
We did do that.
She's quite the little songstress.
She's got quite a voice, hasn't she?
Quite the little songstress.
Such an excitable.
Especially around Christmas, yeah.
But yeah, this community of 350 people is very, very scared
Everybody
that the
knows
rats are
everybody.
going to take over.
But they didn't find the rat, so
No,
they tried
didn't.
everything.
Yeah. So we don't know for sure.
Wow, foxes. They got rid of foxes.
Mm-hmm.
Fur traders introduced Arctic foxes. Yeah, you can't just introduce a species, a random species. You can't do that.
Well, that's there was fire ants coming from.
Well, yeah, we're stuck
South
with the
America.
blasted things now, and
Yeah.
I don't like fire ants, but we're stuck with them. Thanks a lot, South America. Yeah. They're not sending their best, as Trump would say. They're not sending
Very
their
true. They're not sending their best.
best. Jim's working on that because we have some sketches coming up.
Yeah.
I kind of hope he gets in office just for the memes.
I know. They're eating dogs. They're eating the cats. Wagga, wagga, wagga.
Yeah, eat the dog, eat the cat. So way too much fun.
All right, so we go from Alaska to the other end of the country, to New York City.
New York City.
You know, where
and
lots
we're
of
still
rats-
talking about rats.
We're
So,
still
I mean, the
talking
show
about
could
rats.
have been about rats, but, rats eat cheese, and then we have more stories about cheese. So
We do have some actual cheese stories coming, I
we do.
promise.
They're coming. They're cheesy. Trust me. All right. So, New York City Council voted Thursday to use birth control on rats. Yes. According to the bill, a local rat contraceptive pilot program will begin in a small section of the city, 180 days after the bill is passed. For no less than 12 months immediately after the deployment of the rat contraceptive. I wonder...
So are these going to be rat rubbers? Or
I don't know. I'm
or-
curious. Rat rubbers. Better than rubber rats. Yeah. The department shall perform monthly inspections of each pilot program area and each pilot program comparison area. During such monthly inspections of the pilot program areas, why with all the P's? The department shall track the amount of rat contraceptive in each rat contraceptive dispenser. So the rats are going to push a little button, get the pill, and be like, "Yeah, baby, I'm hitting the town. Woo!"
Oh, check a rat!
You'll,
Wow.
you'll have the woo rats now. Woo! The pilot program is inspired by New York City's beloved Flacco the owl, who died earlier this year with rat poison in his system. Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, that is
New
sad.
York City Council members Sean Abreu, the bill's sponsor, said he worked with Contrapest, a type of birth control, to find less harmful ways to reduce the New York City rat population. I know of a less harmful way of doing it. Stop importing people that become homeless and trash up the joint. And then the rats
helps.
won't have so much to eat.
That helps.
Yeah. Abreu also noted that other steps, such as having New Yorkers put trash in containers, gasp, will make the contraceptive more effective. Contrapest has been utilized by the city in the past, but it was not practical, according to a veterinarian with over 12 years' experience who spoke to this particular news organization. But of course, they're not going to give us any more about that because, forget you. Make the rats take the pill. I wonder if they... I wonder if they have to do like the thing where they do, 20 days of the yellow pills and then 7 days of the white pills.
I hope not. It's complicated enough for women, let alone
I'm telling you,
rats.
man. I'm
That's
telling
crazy.
you. I have PTSD from those dang pills. Okay, well, we talked about this cheese last week, like not too long ago.
Right.
And now we have an update on the mummified cheese. Mummy cheese.
Mummy cheese.
Wait, isn't that a song? Mummy cheese, mummy cheese.
It is now. About 20 years ago, researchers discovered 3 ancient mummies in China. They had a strange white substance smeared around their necks, which turned out to be chunks of preserved cheese.
Around their necks?
Yeah. Dating back around 3,600 years, it was the oldest cheese ever found.
Well, okay, but if it was around their necks, did they mean it to become cheese?
I don't know. I've just
might
made
have
it
been like,
through one paragraph. I have no idea.
May you go into the afterlife with milk and honey, and then later on they're like, oh, look, cheese.
No ideas about the cheese.
Oh, dear.
The mummies were buried in Jiaohe Cemetery, a Bronze Age.
You're pronouncing that one.
I was guessing. Burial ground in northwest China since discovering them in 2003. Scientists have been examining the remains and testing the white curd's proteins. Now one group of researchers has finally finished extracting and analyzing the cheese's DNA. Now you don't think of cheese as having DNA.
Don't, but I mean, there are microbes, or there should have been microbes in it, so there would be DNA.
This is interesting because we ingest this occasionally.
Yum, yum.
According to a study published this week in the journal Cell, the mysterious curds are kefir cheese.
I just had kefir for breakfast.
There you go. A fermented yogurt-like dairy product. It's a delicious drink that
Yum,
boosts
yum.
your energy. It's quite
Very
good.
good for you.
The new the new stuff analysis is shedding light on cheese making in ancient Asia.
Now, I never considered kefir an actual cheese, but okay.
But yogurt is technically a cheese.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the oldest known cheese sample ever discovered in the world, says co-author Cao Meifu, a paleogeneticist at the
Ooh.
Chinese Academy of Sciences, in a statement from the journal
Fancy.
Windows. Food items like cheese are extremely difficult to preserve over thousands of years, making this a rare and valuable opportunity. Studying the ancient cheese in great detail can help us better understand our ancestors' diet and culture. Researchers identified multiple bacterial and fungal species in the cheese, including Lactobacillus cephalofaciens and Pichia cudrias, never mind, which are found in modern
I like
kefir grains.
Lactobacillus. That one I got. Cephalofaciens and Pica Kudra. Yeah, you're on your own.
Thousands of years ago, let's just call it cheese.
Cheers!
The cheese was likely soft like modern kefir, but upon their discovery,
Okay,
these
kefir isn't soft though. Kefir is liquid. When I think of soft cheese, I think of brie. I don't think of glug.
now I want kefir during the commercial break.
All
so-
right, it's all yours.
Yay.
We don't
All
have a
right.
commercial break.
Oh, that's right, we don't anymore, do we? Anywho, these pale yellow cheese samples smelled of nothing and were powdery to touch and a little crumbly, as Fu tells New Scientist.
Well, because
James
they were
Woodford.
a bazillion years old. Of course they didn't smell like nothing.
Finally, by sequencing bacterial genes, the researchers were able to track how probiotic bacteria evolved over the last 3,600 years in China, per the statement. The L. Cephalofaciens grains in the mummified cheese are closely related to others from Tibet. The presence of such grains suggests that people in northwest China may have interacted with Tibetans in the Bronze Age, conducting cross-regional exchanges, according to the study.
Trading cheese.
Wow.
Wow, look how tiny that sample was.
Teeny weeny. And there's a photo of one of the kefir-decorated mummies.
Our observation strongly suggests the distinct spreading routes of two kefir microbe subspecies, which was enabled by nomadic groups traveling across Eurasia. These groups likely spread microbes through the trade of dairy products and their storage containers.
Wow.
Human microbial interaction is always fascinating. Fermentive microbes played such an important role in the daily life of these ancient humans, and they propagated these microbes for thousands of years without knowing the existence of them for most of the time. They just
study
knew
is
it tasted yummy.
Yeah, this story is unprecedented, Fu says. It allowed researchers to observe a bacterium's evolution over 3,000 years.
Wow.
That's fascinating.
That is.
Providing a peek into ancient human life. It's a new way of tracking what human cultures were doing long before or in the absence of. Language or written accounts. Paul Kinstead, a cheese historian and food. Now I missed out my call in life, a cheese historian.
Yes.
Yeah, this was made a week ago. It's delicious.
Yeah.
Cheese historian and food scientist at the University of Vermont.
Kraft!
Who's not involved in the study, tells the New York Times' Kate Golumbieski. But despite the cheese's importance to culture, thousands of years of aging have certainly reduced its culinary allure. I think most people don't want to try it because we see that it's not that attractive, food tells us.
Cheese needs to be attractive now.
Hasn't shown it to me.
Throw some lipstick on it. I'll chomp on it. Why not?
There you go.
Sadie agrees.
Absolutely.
Don't know if anybody off mic could hear that, but Sadie has this thing where if she's comfortable and enjoying herself, she just groans. Oh,
Yeah.
she sounds like your stomach before I feed you.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's quite the vociferous one, is our Sadie.
Indeed.
All right, this one we actually have a little bit of a video and make sure that's all set up and everything.
And I am above average.
So I don't know if you've seen this or not.
I have not.
Okay.
It's been my first time.
This could have saved my knuckles a long time ago. Woman finds out the right way to grate cheese. So she's got a box grater, very similar to what we have.
Mm-hmm.
And let's take a look at this video. There's no audio,
No.
and I apologize for the swear word, but yeah, she turns it on its side, and rather than grating it like you're grating it down a cone, she grates it on its side, and then you can take the grater and just dump it into your bowl or your bag or whatever. Yeah, so she
That
literally
is the most ridiculously, stupidly smart thing.
yeah.
It's
And
like
then- and
you
then
do something in particular. You watch your mom do it, and you do
Right.
it yourself. And
Well, just
she
like
probably watched
Funky
her mom do
Melons.
it.
I mean, I finally asked my mom, okay, you knock on the melons. What are we listening for? And she says, I don't know. It's just what Grandma did. And so we have like generations of melon knockers, and nobody knows why they're knocking their melons.
Oh boy.
I wish Al was here for that one. Okay.
Yeah. One
of our former guests. Yeah. Yeah. So in her video TikTok, Brenna Breedlove stands in front of her kitchen counter showing a box cheese grater and a block of cheese. The expletive I learned from TikTok, the text overlay in her video reads. She then demonstrates what she learned. She turns the cheese grater on its side and puts the block of cheese on top before shredding away. Her video was viewed over 18.5 million times.
She could have monetized that.
Oh, baby. That is what TikTok is all about right there. Many people stand the cheese grater upright and use one of the sides to slide the cheese up and down until it shreds pile up inside it, which is exactly what we do. You just did it this afternoon. In May, a woman named Alice was similarly blown away when she found out about this trick at 43 years old. I guess I've been doing this wrong the whole time. I'm 43 years old and I'm just learning to lay the cheese grater on its side. Oh, I'm going to take it one step further though.
Please.
So we buy large blocks of cheese and grate it and freeze half of it.
The reason we do that rather than buying the pre-grated cheese is because the pre-grated cheese has gone from having potato starch as a preservative or as a
separator,
anti-caking thing. It is now a bunch of
not even a bunch. It's literally a prescription drug.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we just do it ourselves.
That's
it
made
takes
for
minutes.
eye
It's
infections.
not a big deal.
Let's see, 100% grated cheese. Blah blah. No, it's not. I was hoping I could find it. Anyways, the grated cheese, it literally has an anti-caking agent that is a prescription drug that's made for eye infections. And you can, I was hoping I could find it. Sometimes it has.
And this doesn't matter whether you buy the gourmet stuff, whether you buy a major brand like Kraft or your basic Walmart, whatever grocery store brand, they all have it. Yeah, and I'm trying to find the name of it so that you can. I should have had that ready to go. Well, that was a jag. I wasn't expecting natamycin. Natamycin. So if you look up natamycin, and I challenge you, when you go to the grocery store, look at the pre-grated cheese. It's only in the pre-grated cheese. It's not in the sliced cheese or anywhere else. You will find natamycin, also known as pimaracin, an antifungal medication used to treat fungal infections around the eye. That's insane. And it's a prescription. The moment we found that out, it was I'll take the extra few minutes and grate this. Yeah, so it only takes a couple of minutes, and we save a bundle. Yeah, it's a lot so much expensive. Cheaper buying the bigger block of cheese. We get, for a lot of things, we get the really large, like 5-pound. As big as we can get. Yeah. Usually 2.5, but as big as we can get. And then we'll freeze half or more of it, and we always have cheese on hand. And frozen grated cheese keeps its texture, unlike the block stuff. And if you buy the pre-grated stuff and freeze it, it does not. Right. Probably because of the natamycin. So, there you go. Things you learn. Consumer tips from CounterCulture ConsumerWise. Yes, CounterCulture ConsumerWise. I like that. Yeah, I'm going to use that. Right. Speaking of cheese, this is the one I'm talking about. And that's how you make cheese. This is Jimmy's article right here. Yes, it certainly is. If I knew I could live on nothing but burgers and cheese. Oh, you had to throw the burgers in. Well, yeah. I mean, come on. But cheese. If I had to choose one food on earth. I could live on olives and cheese. Yeah. Is there such a thing as too much cheese? No. Producers across the U.S. are betting billions of dollars that the answer is no. America's per capita cheese consumption has more than doubled since I grew up. Since the government began keeping track in 1975 to about 42 pounds a year. Wow. Now, that's more than all the butter, ice cream, and yogurt combined. Really? Yeah. So they're not throwing those in like the Kefir mummies. No. Yeah. and I will vouch I probably eat at least that much a year.
Oh, yeah. You could eat a block of
Easily.
cheese in one sitting if I
Easily.
let you. That's another reason we grate the cheese and freeze half of it is to protect Jim from himself. Because if we have what I call slicing cheese, like a block of cheese that he can slice, he will hanker.
Which we have.
Yeah, well,
I've been showing some restraint because I don't really have anything.
Yeah. He'll
like
hanker for a
crackers to
hunka,
put on.
and that cheese is gone.
Facilities for making cheese account for more than half of the $8 billion in U.S. dairy projects slated to come online from 2023 to 2026, according to the International Dairy Foods Association. Great Lakes Cheese Company is spending more than $700 million on a New York plant that will double the company's milk consumption.
Which means we can't get rid of the farting cows now.
Yep. Sorry, AOC. Lactalis USA is making a big investment to add feta capacity to the California facility as more at-home cooking and a viral baked feta pasta goose demand for the brine cheese.
Is it feta or feta?
I call it feta. I don't know why.
You just said feta twice.
I know, but I'm sure it's feta, but I was calling it feta. I don't know why. Pasta goose demand for the brined cheese.
Pasta goose demand.
Sargento Foods Incorporation,
Feta.
which
It is feta.
how about that?
Feta.
Feta. So it's somewhere in between how I was pronouncing it and how I was pronouncing it.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
feta. It is feta.
So,
Yes.
Sargento Foods Incorporated, which is one of the companies that makes Fritzy's beloved string cheese,
she does love her string cheese.
just formed a partnership with Mondelez International Incorporated, aka Nabisco, to package
Only you would
bite-sized-
know that.
Yeah, I would. To package bite-sized cheese with Chips Ahoy cookies and Teddy Grahams in portable snack packs.
Smart.
That's like Oscar Mayer's Lunchables, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Which
Teddy
have
Grahams
gone
and portable snack
downhill. Lunchables, boo.
Yeah,
That used to be one of my favorite things, the little
Yeah.
mint and the little squeezy mustard thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of that is none of that now.
So you'd be hard pressed to walk around any of our facilities and not trip over an under construction sign, says Rod Hogan, Sargento's
No, that's
Innovation
just an
Chief.
OSHA violation right there.
In the area of low fat dieting that boomed throughout the early 1990s,
Boo, it made us all fat.
which is like bogus, we all know now. There was a nutritional war on saturated fats, said Corey Geiger, lead dairy economist at agricultural lender CoBank. Many Americans opted instead for products like skim milk and light yogurt until
Bad
the
for you.
rising popularity of low carb diets such as Atkins and South Beach, not
South Beast.
gave cheese, I'm the South Beast, gave cheese a boost around the turn of the millennium. In the years since, even as paleo adherents and vegans eschew dairy Gesundheit, increased demand for high-protein foods has again put cheese on the menu. Pandemic accelerated cheese's ascent.
I can imagine because that is a comfort food.
It is. When restaurants shut down, home cooks tried to recreate their favorite dishes, complete with piles of cheese. Others found increased opportunities to indulge while working 10 feet from the fridge.
That's you.
Yep, it is. In fact, CoBank estimates cheese snacks are now worth $75 billion a year worldwide, US dollars. The most traditional cheeses only have 4 ingredients: milk, salt, cultures, and enzyme. Pretty simple. A simplicity that adds to their appeal. Fat is not as much of a bad word as it once was, but ultra-processed is
Amen.
good.
If
Says
you have
Michael
to put the word
Burdany.
food, if you have to put the word food on your label, it's not.
Like American cheese
Yeah.
food product.
Dun, 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 dun.
Fat is not okay. What the ultra process is, says Michael Burdany, president of Challenge Dairy Products Incorporated, a California butter producer. They're the ones that have the big elk on the
Oh
label.
yeah. We used to get there. I don't see them here.
I haven't either. I've just seen. I think I've seen Challenge once or twice, but it's usually Land of Lakes and
Yeah.
then Dairy Gold
Land
and
of
then
Lakes minus
whatever the store.
minus the native. They kept the land. got
Yeah,
rid of the
how
native.
American can you get?
Yeah.
Okay, and Agrimark,
Agrimark.
the owner of Cabot Creamery Cooperative, and they make real good that extra sharp Vermont cheddar.
The
They're
white?
the ones that make the white stuff. They make
yeah.
that is amazing.
Yeah, with the black wrapper. Yeah,
They
it's good
make
stuff.
squares of cheese designed to fit on crackers, no knife required. The Cracker Cut lineup, which started in 2017 with 6 varieties, now has a dozen after adding Gouda in May. Kraft was doing that a long time ago, so I'm not sure whether. But anyway, Cabot makes more than
Yeah, but
100.
it's Kraft. This is actual cheese.
Yeah. Cabot makes more than 140 cheese products, with new releases outpacing the company's other dairy categories, according to Sarah Healy, Cabot's senior vice president of marketing. Cheese went from a snack that consumers felt a little guilty about to something they felt really good about.
Something that's basically our main staple, yes.
Yes.
Wow, look at this. The selected
Eating more
dairy.
dairy and drinking less.
Uh-huh.
All right. So
Cheese investment
will be a welcome relief to a dairy industry reeling from decades of tumbling demand for a tall glass of cold milk. Yeah, I don't drink tall glasses of cold
really
milk
don't
that
drink
much
milk
anymore.
in it. Yeah,
I mean, I do once in a while.
Very, very
but
rarely.
not very often.
I mean, honestly,
when
the
I
only
was a
time,
kid, I drank it all the time.
Yeah, the only time I ever actually have milk in the house is if it's for a particular recipe.
Right.
Yeah.
And this brings up something else in this article in a second here. Some of the decline can be traced to plant-based alternatives such as almond and oat milk, which I like those too.
Mm-hmm.
A concern that
We'll
doesn't
have a story about that in a bit too.
Okay, cool. A concern that doesn't really affect cheese, because almond cheese is yuck.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It doesn't melt. It doesn't taste
Now,
good.
almond milk tastes great in lattes and shakes and that kind of thing.
No, it
so
doesn't.
well,
I like
it
almond
anyway.
milk on its own by itself. Mm-hmm. I once used it to bake something. It was okay, but in lattes, forget that. Yuck.
Really? Yeah.
Bleck.
I liked soy milk in lattes.
I don't like
sometimes.
soy nothing.
Yeah. Anyway, plant-based cheeses exist, but they haven't taken off in a big way because they can't match the texture, consistency, and meltability of the real thing.
It's not cheese.
It has nothing to do with any of that. It tastes
And if
like
you're constantly
cardboard.
if you're constantly trying to
take a freaking American slice,
very passionate
your
about
Kraft
this.
American single,
yes,
and make it taste like cardboard. That's exactly what almond cheese tastes like. I used to work at a health food store. I with a humble heart, I tried it and I despised it. I don't despise very many foods, but that one I despised. But I'll
they've been working on it though.
yeah, I'm sure they are.
I think the thing with cheese is the melty.
Yeah, I love the meltability.
We got little mini cupcake. I don't know what you call them. I would call them a confectioner's.
Yeah, kind of like little muffin, little teeny muffin.
That fits in the microwave.
Yeah, barely.
Barely, but it fits and it
Yeah.
works. It works really well. So think about the size of a Reese's peanut butter cup, and you put just a little bit of cheese in each one. And I've tried every different cheese. You stick it in the microwave for 4 minutes. You get crunchy, crunchy crackers. No guilt.
And
Amazing. And that's all there is.
And you don't have to add anything.
Yeah.
You can.
I've done cheddar.
You can add flavor,
Can,
seasonings
but
if
you don't
like,
need to.
You
I've done
don't really
cheddar.
need to.
I've done Parmesan. I've done pepper jack is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also do cottage cheese, but I recommend blending it first, and then it takes a lot longer. And where the harder cheeses make like a little cracker,
Mm-hmm.
the cottage cheese, which is absolutely yummy, it's really good, makes more like a little cup. So I would think of something
It's
like
almost more like a potato chip consistency.
yeah.
too.
So it's better if you do it on parchment paper and let it be flat, and then you get like the full potato chip consistency. But yeah, this little thing was a good investment. The little silicone cups, really good investment because it can go in the oven, it can go in the microwave, and it's a really quick snack. 4 minutes later, you've got crunchy and very satisfying. I mean, it makes 2 dozen. So he gets half, I get half, and we're both full. And no carbs at all.
And like she said, it's simple to prepare and quick to fix, quick to heat up, and you're good to go. Anywho, let's see. The cheese investments will be a welcome relief to a dairy industry reeling from decades of tumbling demand for a tall classic old milk. Like I just said, some of the decline can be traced to plant-based alternatives, such as almond and oat milk. Plant-based
Well, I
cheeses.
also think that people
Already
are
done all
eating
of
less
this.
cereal, and now that a box of cereal costs $12,
Yeah, it's gotten stupid. That
cereal used to be what you would eat
that
when
was
you
the
couldn't
alternative
afford,
to eggs and bacon and stuff.
right?
And now it's
it's crazy.
it's not really all that healthy. I mean,
It's
they're
all
yummy,
sugar now.
but yeah. With so much new capacity coming online, there's a chance U.S. households won't keep up. Diet fads, after all, tend to flip-flop. Our beloved cottage cheese, for instance, is having a moment on social media.
Yes, it is.
Making it and other varieties a favorite of keto diet
Because
fans.
it is very versatile.
But cheese is also a key ingredient in higher calorie foods such as pizza and cheeseburgers, yum, that are often among the first things to go in a lifestyle overhaul.
Not really.
Not really.
We make cheeseburgers and pizza all the time that are totally keto.
You just skip the bread, and there's lots of alternatives. You can do cauliflower pizza crusts are amazing. They're
okay.
delicious.
I
Yeah.
like my crust better, though. I just use mozzie and almond flour,
Mm-hmm.
very slowly melted, so it's like a Play-Doh. Then smooth it out into a crust, and then add all the
Or skip it,
ingredients.
call Domino's, whatever. But it's still.
Well, that defeats the purpose. Okay, you know what? I challenge you to get Domino's out where we are. You can't get a bus. We can't even get a
We
signal.
got
out
a
where
bus. We get a bus. I have to get a bus. I wouldn't have a job if I
It's
didn't
not
have
a
a bus.
It's a van.
All right. Well, all right. Well,
I'm married to the guy who takes the short bus to work. Yeah.
Thank you for calling the state of Texas. How can I help you? Anyway.
You know that's how people see us.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to go on a rant. I don't even know everything there is to know about the job yet. It's just been 1 week, and I literally have 5 or 6 months of training.
Wow.
So this is going to take a long time.
But you have your own office.
I do have my own office.
How badass is that?
I think it's really cool. It's like it gives me an incentive to come to work.
Yeah.
I mean, it really makes me happy.
And they let you decorate it.
Within reason. I mean, I
Well,
can't.
yeah,
really-
I'm not going to send you my OnlyFans pics, but
No.
you know,
You have.
I'm not on OnlyFans.
Okay, just checking.
God,
I mean,
they would pay me to just not be there.
oh no. There is a thing for everything.
If that's true. It is the internet.
It's the internet.
Not my
Anyway.
gig. Not my gig.
Domestic demand and economic conditions simply don't augur continued growth at this rapid pace, says Erica Madkey, who likes to use fancy words like augur, a vice president at researcher Ever Ag Insights. We suspect that this wave of investment, particularly in cheese, will lead to an oversupply situation, at least in the short term.
So, long story short, invest in cheese.
Eat cheese.
Invest
in cheese.
Invest in cheese. Eat cheese. And now?
One of my favorite desserts.
Oh, yeah. It's up there with...
I made a really, really yummy keto cheesecake like a couple of years ago. Why don't I do that again?
Why don't you do that again?
I think I will if I can find the recipe.
We've got to
again.
figure out how to make a keto... what is that thing called? Yeah, there's no way you can make that keto because you have to do the thing with the sugar and the crusty
What are
thing.
you you're
I
talking
can't
about?
think of the word right now.
You're talking about that custard thing.
Yeah, and I can't think of the word.
Tiramisu? No, that's
No,
not
not
it.
tiramisu. That's
It's,
chocolate and cocoa and ladyfingers and whatnot. No, I'm thinking of crud. Don't you hate it when you've got it right at the tip
I know
of your
exactly
tongue?
what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
creme brulee.
Creme brulee.
Creme brulee. Yes.
Creme brulee. Yum,
Yeah, that is
yum, yum.
by far, hands down, my
That's her
favorite
favorite
dessert
by
of
far.
all time.
So we mentioned Kraft. Now you get to talk about the company Kraft. Or
I do?
Now it's known
Do I
Kraft
really?
Heinz Company.
All right.
Or Kraft Heinz, as I call it sometimes.
Well, you know we love our Guinness records. So,
That's true.
world's largest cheesecake, weighing 15,008 pounds, unveiled at Upstate New York Festival. Let's take a peek. The Kraft Heinz Company broke the record for the world's largest cheesecake at the Lowville Cream Cheese Festival in Lowville. Well, of course it was in Lowville, because otherwise it would be named the Peninsky. On September, Guinness World Records website. Okay, the cheesecake's weight came in at 15,008 pounds, and Lieutenant Colonel Adam Keller from the 6th Squadron... Why is this important? 6th Squad... Why can I say the word?
6th Squadron, 6th Cavalry of the 10th Mountain Division. I was
Cut
in
the first
military.
piece. The festival's Facebook page
Might have been
said,
an honored guest because he was a veteran or something.
Yeah,
you never know.
Smurf. Okay, so here it is. They put the Philadelphia label on it.
Because, that's
And then there's a sign that
valuable
says
brand.
Big Cheesecake. That's hilarious. Big Cheesecake. Yum. Okay, Louisville, and you did not put an apostrophe in its. Please tell me I am not looking
Melanie,
at an article.
we need to move on.
Please tell me.
We need to move on. We need to move
I
on.
can't move on. That is an egregious error. Whoever the editor was of this article, fire them immediately.
And hire her.
Louisville and It Is Festival, which is just over an hour north of Utica, has previously been home to the record, according to Spectrum News, as Kraft Heinz previously built a 6,900-pound cheesecake in 2013, but a Russian company made a bigger
space
one.
race only for cheesecake. Okay.
9,347.6 pounds just 4 years later. You'd think they would measure all the ingredients and come up with an even number. I mean, what's all these really odd numbers? As the leader in cream cheese, we are always looking for ways to share our iconic brand and remind people of our delicious and creamy taste, says Kraft Heinz Louisville. We're talking Philadelphia, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the brand.
Yeah. Because when I was in Philly, it was all about the cheese.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there is the big cheesecake in the Gent Cream Cheese Festival. With an event like the Louisville, I keep saying Louisville. Lowville Cream Cheese Festival in our factory's hometown, we wanted to show up in a big way this year by attempting to reclaim our Guinness World Records title. Yeah, I think they overachieved.
Maybe.
They really went crazy. They like doubled it. They like, you know what? Just catch up, chiz. That's how you don't swear while swearing. Okay, the record-breaking cheesecake took 5.5 hours to make, and around 40 Kraft Heinz Lowville plant employees were involved in the process. And to get an idea of just how massive this delectable dessert was, oh my God, again with the apostrophe, who is this person? Fire them! It's equivalent,
It's USA Today.
This one actually is right. It is equivalent to 10 dairy cows. Okay, pass. One school, but okay, so
It's USA Today, one of the worst.
it is equivalent
articles.
to 10 dairy cows, one school bus, one Tyrannosaurus Rex, or 5,000 standard 9-inch cheesecakes. So that's a big O mother hummer.
Wow.
The 1,450-pound crust consisted of 750 pounds of graham crackers. Oh my heart.
Love
250 pounds of sugar and 450 pounds of butter, and was filled with 13,558 pounds of ready-to-eat cheesecake filling. Hey, that's cheating. That's cheating. And don't worry, none of it went to waste. After being shared with thousands of festival attendees, the cheesecake made its way to local schools, retirement homes, and Lowville Food Pantry and nearby Watertown Urban Mission, Kraft Heinz said. God bless them for sending it to retirement homes, food pantries, and people in need. What a nice little treat that you don't expect.
Right.
When you go to a food pantry, you don't get cheesecake. That must have been such a decadent and fun thing for people to receive. That's very sweet. What a fun story.
That's a fun story. All right.
Cheesecake.
Stop it.
I don't know about you, but I just want to run to the refrigerator right now and just stick my face in the vat of cream cheese. Just gravity.
Yeah. Okay. So vegan cheese.
All right. Vegan cheese. We said we'd talk about it. I'm curious about this, but this sounds like there was malarkey afoot.
Well, let's find out.
Which is probably what the cheese smells like, afoot. I'll be over here.
In the wine world, the 1976 Judgment of Paris. I remember watching a movie about this.
Yeah?
A blind taste test.
Oh, was this the one where the California wine won
over the Bordeaux,
I
right.
watched that. Yeah, that was good.
Beat out their French counterparts, is remembered as the shocking upending of long-standing order. A similar moment looked like it was coming to the demi-monde of artisanal cheese. On Monday, the winners will be announced to the Good Food Awards, a prestigious honor that considers both the quality of the products and the environmental and social consciousness of the hippies, the companies that produce them.
Now.
When the California-based foundation that doles them out announced the finalists in January, among the candidates was a blue cheese from Climax Foods from Berkeley, California. The difference between that entrant and its competitors wasn't a silky mouthfeel or buttery flavor, but rather the fact that the Climax Blue, which is served in restaurants including Michelin-starred 11 Madison Park in New York, wasn't made from the milk of cows or goats, but rather a blend of ingredients including pumpkin seeds, lima beans, hemp seeds, coconut fat, and cocoa butter.
Sounds awful.
A plant-based cheese held up as an exemplar in a blind tasting among true dairy products. Traditional cheesemakers were shocked As word spread about the interloper, mostly through food writer Janet Fletcher's Planet Cheese newsletter, the controversy fomented.
Do you think it was the added ingredient of crack that made a difference?
Maybe.
Just put a little bit of crack in your cheese, and now it becomes the best tasting non-cow.
The Good Foods Foundation that oversees the awards at first offered a compromise solution. If, in fact, the Climax cheese was a winner, it announced the foundation would name a co-winner. Then the foundation would reevaluate for next year, perhaps creating a new category or moving them into the broader snacks cohort.
I feel like this is a metaphor for something.
It probably is.
Like if you show up, with naughty bits from a guy and you want to be a girl and you want to compete against girls, perhaps you should get your own categorization.
Yeah.
If you want to be a cheese and you have the naughty bits from not cheeses, in fact, you have no ingredients that cheeses possess, perhaps you should have your own category.
Quite possibly in there looking at that.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, things were getting messy.
Ruh-roh.
Of course. This week, the foundation quietly removed the Climax Blue from the list of finalists on its website, but didn't make public what had disqualified the cheese.
Well, it wasn't cheese. That's what disqualified it.
It wasn't the fact that it is plant-based, since those products are explicitly allowed. But it had never been an issue since a vegan cheese had never impressed the judges enough to be named a finalist. They all need to be replaced.
The
Vegan
judges?
cheese, yes. When asked by the Washington Post about his reasoning, Good Foods Foundation Executive Director Sarah Weiner at first declined to say...
No, tell me her name is not Sarah Weiner.
Okay, Sarah Weiner. At first declined to say, but she said something similar...
If she's going to be a Weiner, she's going to talk
That's
like
Weiner.
this.
Weiner.
It's Weiner.
Yeah, it's Weiner. She said something similar had happened only 3 times in the award's 14-year history. That's not a very long history.
No.
Someone, another entrant perhaps, or someone else in the community, can alert the foundation the contestant might not meet the requirements they attested to, which include such things as meeting animal husbandry guidelines where applicable and offering employees fair wages and diversity training.
Diversity training?
Weiner also
I
wouldn't
don't
say...
care if people have diversity training. I care if my cheese tastes yummy.
That's true. Weiner also, blah, blah, where am I here?
Weiner.
Yeah. Weiner also wouldn't say who tipped off the foundation about Climax. I
love that Weiner, tipped, and Climax are all in the same sentence. We are going to lose our PG rating.
We lost that 8 years ago. I think there were a lot more eyes on this particular entrant than there would be on one of the hundreds of other finalists, she said, which made it more likely that someone with expertise would reach out.
This is such an innocent article, and yet I feel so dirty.
This is the longest article in the history of cheese.
Yeah, we don't need to go on, but
Yeah,
suffice it to say, there was some shenanigans in the background,
There's
and
malarkey, monkey shine, shenanigans,
all of the
and all
things,
of the things.
and apparently it came down to them using enzyme that they said they sourced from the right place, and Karen, and it goes on and on and on. And I'm curious to taste the cheese. I'm just going to be honest. I'm curious to taste the not actual cheese made out of God knows what, not cheese.
All right.
So there we go. And monkey shines into things. Okay. This last story is bittersweet because I didn't get to see this reunion thing, but apparently
Me
this
neither.
just got released, and it's posthumous to old Chandler Bing.
Posthumous?
Isn't that the word?
Posthumous.
Posthumous? He died, okay? He's dead.
He's quite dead.
He's, sad. But this was a sweet moment, and we'll get DMCA'd off the universe, but I still want to share it because I think it's really sweet. And we'll still talk over the top of it, but we'll still get
Don't get
DMCA'd.
too excited. I haven't done this in a long time. So I should be Phoebe for this.
It should be Phoebe.
Okay. Smelly cat, what are they feeding you? Smelly cat.
So apparently, Lisa Kudrow revealed that she had completely forgotten how to do this. She had to actually
should
Google
Google
it. So she says, I Googled it. Thank you, Wolf, for posting the chords. Her most popular role, arguably, was Phoebe Buffet
Sure.
from Friends. And she said she was underprepared for the moment, but she was joined by a special guest.
That smelly cat, it's not
Your fault.
They won't take you to the vet. You're obviously
Not their favorite pet.
You may not be a bed of roses, and you're no
No
friend
friend
of
of
those
those
with
with noses. And in walks Lady Gaga. That is quite an outfit she's wearing.
It's so weird because I was walking down the street and I just happened to have my...
Her guitar. Yeah.
Oh my God.
You need some help?
Yeah. I mean, I think so.
Yeah,
Song
she's
Cat.
Phoebe.
It's one of my favorite songs.
She's actually in the coffee shop from
Mind if I-
Friends.
Oh,
Take
please.
a smelly cat for a spin.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right.
Here she goes. Girl can sing.
Smelly cat, what are they feeding you? Smelly cat, it's not your fault.
Lisa Kudrow is so funny.
Not bad.
Was it okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It was
yeah,
really,
yeah.
really good.
Thank you so much.
They won't take you to the vet. You're obviously not their favorite pet.
You may not be a bed of roses, and you're no friend of those with the noses.
You got to hand it to
Smelly cat, smelly
Lady Gaga because she does have quite the schnoz, and
Yeah.
pointing to her nose was epic.
cat, smelly
This is fun. This is cute.
It's not your fault.
And then, of course, we've got to bring in with the robes and everything. I can't believe they got a gospel choir to sing Smelly Cat.
Hilarious. I've not seen this before. This is-
It's not your fault. Smelly cat, what are they feeding you? Smelly cat,
She went full Madonna.
it's not your fault.
Lady Gaga really can sing.
yeah, she's a good singer. Really good singer.
Yeah, that's right.
And Lisa's classic Phoebe here. This is great.
Thank you. This is so great. I still think it's better when it's just me.
It is.
It is.
You heard it.
It
Can I
is.
just say something? Thank you so much for being the person for all of us on Friends that was I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but the different one, or the one that was really herself.
Thank
Yeah.
you, and thanks for carrying it along. I'm gonna start crying.
Yeah.
It was just a really cute exchange. I sincerely enjoyed that. So, like I said, we'll get DMCA'd off of the YouTubes, but I don't
Yeah,
care.
it doesn't
It was
matter.
worth it.
Warner Brothers can do whatever they want to do. I
Warner
don't-
Brothers can, yeah. What you said.
What up, Doc?
What you said.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, see, that's why we can't have nice things. And on to news of the wicked.
This is nuts.
Is it nuts? Is it indeed nuts?
Among other things.
this
In March
is terrible.
Yeah, this is awful. In March 2023, a Pennsylvania woman received a phone call from a healthcare executive that left her in disbelief. Hackers had obtained photos of her naked body while she underwent radiation treatments and posted them to the dark corner of the internet.
Why would you want to see pictures of cancer? The internet.
Because the internet, you just answered your
Yeah,
own question.
I know. But-
Lehigh Valley Health Network refused to pay a ransom in excess of $5 million to recover the photos and other stolen patient information, but it couldn't sidestep financial damages from the
It
breach.
probably costs them less to do it that way than to
Yeah.
pay for the ransom. And the thing with paying ransom is the minute you do, they're just going to do it again because they made money doing it.
Exactly.
And if it's digital, there's no proof that they destroyed it.
Yeah. The unidentified woman, who is in her 50s and known as Jane Doe, became the lead plaintiff in a class action suing Lehigh for failing to safeguard highly sensitive patient information, including nude photos of hundreds of cancer patients.
Question.
Yeah.
Why are we taking nude photos of cancer patients? Why? What could possibly be the medical reason for that?
I have no idea. I don't know at all.
They're not going to tell us, are they?
They might, but they probably won't.
Ooh. Oh, so they didn't want to pay $5 million, but they're paying her $65 million. You go, girl.
Yeah. A law firm announced that Lehigh had agreed to pay $65 million to settle the case. As hackers penetrate American healthcare firms with alarming regularity, this episode reveals how cyber thieves are exploiting uniquely sensitive data with devastating human and financial
Why
consequences.
is this data even available? It shouldn't even be on the active internet. It should be internal and only shared
That's
at
why
the
it's
request.
hackers doing it. It's not just, not posting them on Facebook for Pete's sake.
Well, but they basically are.
Yeah.
I mean, they basically are.
Devastating. Data breaches that compromise health information of hundreds of Americans happen on a near daily basis. Yipe. According to a Washington Post review of cases compiled by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Okay, I will never have nude photos taken of me, even for medical reasons. And B, if you were to hack it and find any, you deserve what you see.
True.
Hey.
Yep. I didn't mean it like that.
Jeez.
I didn't mean it like that. I'm just saying it's not smart. It's
Can
not
you
good.
fire your husband?
No,
Gosh.
don't hire me. I'm just full disclosure. It's late.
People, do not look at my wife. Whatever you do, save yourselves. Do not look at my
I
wife.
look at you all the time, and I love what I see. You know that. One mistake, I slip
But you're
once.
weird.
Jeez. Anyway, that is especially the case for a health system. Oh, wait a minute. The Lehigh Valley case also highlights the legal predicaments for healthcare organizations that are increasingly targeted by hackers, leaving them vulnerable to both the cyber criminals and subsequent lawsuits brought by patients whose lives are upended by a breach.
Still want to know why they got naked pictures taken of
I'm
themselves.
scrolling down to see. It isn't clear how common intimate patient photos are exposed in hacks. Well, I guess that answers that question.
This includes X-ray.
A plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills
Who wants
disclosed
to see X-ray? People are weird.
People are strange when you're a stranger. A plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills disclosed a cyber attack last year that included images taken in connection with the services rendered at our office, sparking litigation. A second plastic surgery clinic also disclosed a hack around the same time.
Hackers
don't know
have
why they're
increasingly
doing
gone
it.
after critical cogs in supply chains, such as United Health Group's Change Healthcare subsidiary, which routes claims from pharmacies and healthcare providers to insurers and facilitates payments. That I
So you
understand.
don't have much medical privacy anymore.
No.
They can hack the hell out of you.
No, I think, what is
crazy.
it, HIPAA and FICA and FACO and OSHA and WICA and all of them are totally being violated here.
You forgot MCA and ABC.
There you go. They're all being violated. DACA and FACA and
Yeah, another full disclosure. I actually did work briefly for you.
LIFO, FIFO. I mean, it's all being
yeah.
all being hacked.
Absolutely nuts.
Crazy. That's insane. And these poor people, they're already going through so much. Speaking of going through so much,
This
imagine
poor son of a gun.
losing your entire life. I mean, 50 years this man spent in prison for something he did not do. You spent some time in Japan, so how do you pronounce this lovely man's name? Iwa
I think
Hakamata?
it's Iwao Hakamata.
Okay, so in court in Japan on Thursday, acquitted Iwao Hakamata, the world's longest-serving death row inmate. The world, not just Japan.
And this is on
the
September
world.
26th. It was just a few days ago.
Yeah, just a few days ago. Half a century after he was arrested and sentenced to death on the basis of some blood-stained cloths found near the site of the quadruple murders. Hakamata was sentenced to death over the killings of a senior manager, the manager's wife, and two children at the miso factory where he worked. I'm never going to eat miso again. Miso is a local food seasoning. Well, everybody knows that. The victims were found stabbed to death in 1966 in their house that had been burnt down. So first they got stabbed, then they got burnt. Hakamata was arrested in the same year, and his death sentence was finalized in 1980. That took a long time, 66 to 80. The
Shizuoka
Thank you. On Thursday, said the investigators
District Court. Very important to say that. Just some Shizuoka made sound like the Yakuza.
That's true. Not everybody is, those who are listening cannot see the word. So, yes, I stand corrected. The Shizuoka District Court on Thursday said the investigators had fabricated evidence at the end of the retrial that captured the imagination of the Japanese people. The 88-year-old former professional boxer spent nearly 5 decades as a death row inmate. He was released from prison in 2014 following new evidence. The retrial began in October 2023. Why was there a retrial if he was found innocent?
There must be something in the Japanese legal system that allows for that.
Yeah, because we have double jeopardy here. There were 3 instances of fabrication of evidence, including 5 pieces of clothing that Hakamata was alleged to have worn during the incident, and his confession, Kyoto News Agency quoted the court as saying. The court also said, the way that's worded is that he wore it while he stabbed them, and then he put them back on to confess.
Yeah, I know.
Really bad writing. The court also said his confession was forced by inflicting physical and mental pain, describing his questioning as inhumane. Yes, if you torture somebody long enough, they will admit to doing things they did not do. Mm-hmm. The blood-stained cloths, and they keep saying cloths, not clothes, but cloths, used as evidence against Hakamata were found in a miso tank near the site of the murders.
I think this is being translated from Japanese, so it's going to be
okay.
There's going to be some.
That makes sense. Okay.
Some discrepancy.
So there wasn't an editor who actually checked it after the fact. It was probably translated by AI, and they were just like, okay. Anyways, it was found in the miso tank at the site of the murders 14 months later. The defense team said the color of blood could not remain red in the tank for such a long time. The court agreed to this argument. Could not remain red? No, because blood turns brown after it's been out for a while. Mm-hmm. How weird. Looking at the clothing. In 2023, March, the Tokyo High Court had ordered the retrial, citing the strong possibility of investigators planting the 5 pieces of clothing. The High Court in 2018 had initially decided not to reopen the case. Yeah, he was already free. They should have let it go. But the Supreme Court in 2020 ordered it to re-examine its ruling. Kyoto News Agency reported this poor man. Hakamata, who maintained his innocence throughout all these years, was helped by his elder sister, Hakamata Hideko. Hideko, who was 33 at the time of his arrest, was a firm supporter of her brother, appearing in court to support him for all these 5 decades. Iwao wrote to his family from prison every day, and HK said in a report, "I am not the culprit. I am screaming every day." He wrote this to his mother in 1967, a year after his arrest.
At some point, the screaming stopped, I'm sure. God, it's just horrible. And there's nothing you can do. Mm-mm. Absolutely nothing you could do to repay this guy.
No. No amount of money, nothing.
He's
nothing.
old. I mean, he's got a few years
He's
left.
just going to have a couple years of quote, freedom and then die. Awful. Just awful. I just can't even imagine. I'm so sorry. So sorry for this man. That is a truly awful thing. Okay, meanwhile, he spends his life in jail for something he didn't wear, and now folks are going to jail or being kicked out of venues for things that they are wearing, which is absolutely ridiculous. This is a violation of our First Amendment rights. Go, Jim.
Fantastic. This Trump supporter is playing hardball with the New York Mets. Aura Moody wants $2 million in damages from the team at Citi Field, claiming she was barred from entering the stadium last month until she took off her Make America Great Again hat, according to a September 6 Brooklyn federal court lawsuit. The Republican from St. Albans, Queens, insisted the ban violated her right to free speech and caused her emotional distress. This country is supposed to be the beacon of freedom for all. Moody, 64, who is representing herself,
She's
told
64,
the Post.
man, they are right. Black do not crack. She is a good-looking woman for 64.
I haven't seen her. Yeah, she ain't bad at all.
Yeah.
Okay. She's accused the Mets of racial discrimination and political retaliation and
Yeah.
reputational harm.
100%.
Good. Nail it. Moody, a social worker and mother of two, yay, fellow social worker, said she and her friend were wearing MAGA hats when they arrived at Citi Field on August 14th for a Mets
It's
Oakland
a freaking
A's
hat,
game.
people. Calm down.
They were with 8 other members of the Queens Village Republican Club. They had just made it past security when a Citi Field staffer told them they were not allowed inside with their Trump gear on, she said.
Why?
Moody said she tried to invoke her First Amendment rights multiple times, but was told by the staff that the MAGA cap was too political and she needed to take it off. Moody.
So kneeling during the national anthem is not too political? That's okay.
And I have no doubt that there were people wearing Harris hats and nobody said boo. Anyway, I'm just willing to bet that because it's New York City. Moody and her pal, who are both on the board of the club, only agreed to take their hats off because they were worried about inconveniencing the rest of their group who were already in their seats.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
Moody attempted to de-escalate the situation and asked if she could put her MAGA hat in her bag, but was told no, because you can put the hat back on when you get to your seat.
Oh, give me a break.
You have to take the MAGA hat out of the stadium, according to court papers.
Okay, so they basically got, like, Joy Reid freaking out, TDSing all over them. This is ridiculous.
Moody knew she was being racially targeted and politically retaliated against for being a black woman wearing a MAGA hat, so she requested to speak to a supervisor.
I hate to say that. I usually don't buy into this junk, but it sounds to me like she really was.
Yeah. She requested to speak to a supervisor, she said in the legal filing. When Moody asked the security supervisor if she was required to take her MAGA hat outside Citi Field, the supervisor replied, that's a policy, yeah. Over there, the policy. So the two women were forced to call the friend they carpooled with in order to put the hats back in the vehicle, Moody claimed.
But they don't let you back in the stadium once you leave, so...
Yeah. When Moody finally arrived at her seat, she observed white persons wearing MAGA hats and MAGA attire.
Of course.
Other members of her group, she said in litigation. A Mets employee was mistaken about our attire policy, the team initially said. We are reaching out to Aura Moody to apologize and invite her back to the ballpark.
Yeah, right.
Oh, hell nah! The suit acknowledges that a team rep phoned Moody August 17th and apologized on behalf of the New York Mets and assured her there is no such policy against wearing a MAGA hat, and the staff has been retrained.
Retrained, I hope fired.
Fired to be good.
Fired to be
The
good.
Mets have no comment on the lawsuit, said Nancy Elder, his team spokeswoman. Moody told the Post she has not returned to Citi Field since the MAGA hat fiasco and isn't sure if she ever will. It was embarrassing. It was heartbreaking. It was shocking. It was humiliating. So how can I go back? It may take some time, she said.
I understand where she's coming from, because when you are humiliated publicly like that, and they act like you're doing something wrong when you're not, even after they apologize and say, oh, come back. This has literally happened to me in Vegas. You know, we don't have a policy against bare feet or MAGA hats or whatever.
Right.
You know, and they're like, come back. And you're like, but why?
Yeah.
Yeah. They'd have to do a lot more than just
I
apologize.
hope that she at least gets part of this money is settled. Because
yeah, I hate
they really need to.
I hate frivolous lawsuits, but when you go against the Constitution because of your TDS or whatever craziness you have in your brain, you need to be. It needs to sting. It needs to hurt.
They need to feel it, and they have the money. It's not like they don't have the money.
Yeah, it needs to sting.
This is not Bubble Waters. It is no longer 2020. But this is your new abnormal.
If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share. I am not mad at anyone for achieving success, but everyone should pay their fair share, and it is not right that the teachers and the firefighters that I meet every day across our country are paying a higher tax than the richest people in our country.
President, there wasn't a single thing that I did that she couldn't do. And so I was able to delegate her responsibility on everything from foreign policy to domestic policy.
She simply has said it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. We can't afford 4 more years of this, and I've been saying it.
You
think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Oh boy.
Oh boy. All right. So this story is
It's
classic
a story of a vice
comparison.
presidential candidate,
Yes.
a restaurant, and
headlines.
and
Very drastically different headlines.
very drastically different headlines and approaches.
Yeah. So let's start with this one. J.D. Vance has classy response after iconic restaurant refuses to let him in. So let's learn about his classy response.
Now, this article has just some of the story, so I'm going to give you the full one.
Okay.
It's the same.
All right, give us the full story before we look at the article.
Okay.
Any
But the
day
article
now.
is the full story.
Oh.
You're throwing me off with No,
Duh.
it's okay.
Okay.
Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance attempted to stop by the iconic Primanti Brothers restaurant in North Versailles, Pennsylvania on Saturday, where scores of supporters had gathered in anticipation of the visit. Upon arriving, the restaurant manager told Vance that they didn't want to hold a campaign event in the store, quote-unquote campaign event, even though the same location, of course, cleared out customers to stage a photo op for Vice President Harris earlier this year. An employee told the campaign that this was not a campaign stop and that JD's not allowed in. In addition, the restaurant manager threatened to call the police if Vance entered the establishment.
That's a little bit over
A
the
bit
top.
over the top. Trump Vance supporters who had gathered at the restaurant proceeded to boo the manager after Vance was barred from entry. Sean Logan, attorney from the Pittsburgh area, who witnessed the interaction, uploaded several videos from inside the store to social media. I'm like right by the Primanti Brothers near McKeesport. I wanted to document what happened because there's some confusion about exactly what took place. Long story short, a whole bunch of people from Allegheny County, myself, others, we got to Primanti Brothers about 12:45. They let us in, Logue explained. He added that half the crowd was dressed in Trump gear while others were dressed normally. J.D. Vance's...
Like Trump gear is abnormal, but okay.
Well, yeah. J.D. Vance's SUV pulls up. Secret Service comes into the restaurant. Secret Service guards the area between the SUV and the entrance to the restaurant. J.D. Vance gets out, and then the manager runs out and yells at him and says, "You can't come in here," Logue continued. He then
How'd you
reported...
get the rest of the article? Because I've got nothing.
You go down to where... Well, hold on.
It does like the next article.
Okay.
Annoying. I hate
Right where it
this.
says,
Don't do this.
Okay. Right where after it says others were dressed normally, blue says China controls blah, blah, blah. Right underneath, read more, click trendingpoliticsnews.com.
Yeah, don't got it.
Keep
here
going.
it is. Oh.
Daria B.
Why do I have to click on a totally different thing? That is a terrible, terrible way to run your website. Stop it.
Okay.
All right.
We continue.
And now where are we?
Vance then, I don't know anymore.
SUV pulls up. Here we are.
SUV pulls up on the thing. He then reported that the manager called company headquarters, was told that Vance was not allowed in the building.
In the building.
In the building.
At all.
At all. Vance,
just...
not at all. Vance then proceeded to meet with supporters in the parking lot, while the staffer told people inside to write down their names so that the vice presidential nominee can meet with them the next time he comes to town. We went in there. We paid for everybody's food. We gave them a nice tip. And, of course, I told them no taxes on tips if you vote for Trump, Vance told the crowd, drawing cheers. Okay. The Trump campaigns had a far different experience at the restaurant when compared to the Harris-Walz campaign, who visited the location last month. According to several patrons, restaurant staff kicked out paying customers to replace them with Harris supporters.
Of course they did.
In an effort to make the campaign appear organic.
Just like she has to bust in all her supporters for every rally she goes to.
I wanted to watch some sports and enjoy an afternoon lunch, Moon Township resident Mark Dodson told Fox News. Around 3:30, the bartender, she goes, "It's last call." What do you mean by last call? Employees then informed patrons that the restaurant was closing for a private event, which turned out to be the arrival of Vice President Doofus and her husband, Doug Emhoff, the nanny banger. The couple then proceeded to greet patrons and pose for photos. Okay, see, that's how you handle it. He handled it in a very classy way. He said, please continue to patronize the restaurant, although I certainly would not.
Okay, so that is a relatively normal reporting on it.
Yeah, kind of balanced.
They gave...
balanced.
Yeah, they basically gave the facts. So let's look at how another...
the so-called independent.
Yeah, the so-called independent that is anything but.
It's based out of Britain.
And
so
just seriously, look at this headline.
J.D. Vance suffers latest campaign fail after being denied entry into restaurant.
How is that a campaign fail when a whole bunch of people supported him and still rallied outside with him?
Because it's a fail, dang it. J.D. Vance suffered yet another embarrassing setback on the campaign trail after being denied entry into a restaurant where he is supposed to speak and being forced to address supporters in the parking lot instead.
That's not even true. He wasn't supposed to speak there, yeah.
He chose to speak there. According to reports, after showing up to Primanti Brothers in South Versailles, Pennsylvania, a restaurant worker told the press that cameras were not allowed and they did not want a campaign event.
Well, I mean, they weren't prepared to kick out their paying customers so that,
The restaurant was reportedly full of customers waiting to greet Vance, who canceled their food orders after learning he wasn't welcome. Vance ended up glad-handing in the parking lot outside, according to NBC.
Vance canceled their food orders? That's not what the other article said.
The customers canceled their food orders.
Oh, good.
Not Vance.
Oh,
Customers canceled their food orders.
Made it sound like he did.
I know. Well, they're the independent. They're independent.
Don't hold it against the restaurant.
Vance,
it's a great local business. Let's keep on supporting it.
Yeah, that's what he said. Vance ended up glad-handing the parking lot outside. Paid for everyone's food. Gave him a nice tip, and of course, when given a nice tip, I said no taxes on tip. Vance told those gathered. He added, "Don't hold it against the restaurant worker. It's a great local business. Let's keep on supporting it." The latest food shop-related gaffe led to many online questioning those that make advance arrangements for the Republican vice presidential nominee, with one ex-user claiming he has the worst advance team in modern election history. Just last week, it was roundly mocked online over a trip to the supermarket, also in Pennsylvania, where he bemoaned the steep cost of eggs, claiming that Harris's economic policies had led to the price being $4.
Wow, $4 is cheap. I saw them for $5.25 just yesterday.
The problem? When footage of the visit emerged, Vance was quickly called out by viewers who spotted the price tag of a dozen eggs behind him was actually $2.99.
Yeah, but look at what he's holding in his hand. That's not a dozen eggs.
Well, it's also, maybe it's $2.99 now, but at some point, a dozen eggs was easily $4 or more.
Like I said, I just saw them for over $5 yesterday.
And in Philadelphia, the Ohio senator tried to crack a joke when ordering a Philly cheesesteak at the famed Pat's King of Steaks, but he wound up being accused of committing a crime against humanity after it fell flat. What was the joke?
What was the joke?
I don't know. In August, Vance admitted the Trump campaign screwed up after an awkward visit to a donut shop in Valdosta, Georgia. The GOP Veep nominee struggled to make small talk while buying baked goods with an employee who clearly did not want to be on camera. The excruciating moment went viral. "I just feel terrible for that woman," Vance later said.
Okay, I've got to look up this Pat's King of States. What did Vance say? That was a crime against humanity.
I mean, if it's a joke, I mean, seriously, what kind of joke? It could be a crime against humanity. That's a bit over the top.
A bit way stupid over the top.
Okay, so I've got sort of an article here. Let's see what it says. J.D. Vance went to Pat's King of States on Monday for a cheesesteak following a campaign stop in North Philly, but he wanted to know why the South Philadelphia stable didn't have Swiss cheese. Oh, the humanity! Oh, I'll never survive! I don't like Swiss cheese either, the Republican vice president nominee said through the window to several employees at the cheesesteak shop on 9th Street. But everyone says it's insulting. Why do you guys hate it so much? What's the story? I'm not seeing a crime against humanity. A Pat's employee can be heard replying to Vance saying, we don't hate it, we just don't use it. Oh my God, like such a diss. How horrible was that? I'm sure he is red-faced and cannot sleep anymore.
He's lost
That
sleep
was
over a
just
Philly
awful.
cheesesteak sandwich. Who cares?
Um,
Does it have steak? Does it have cheese? Does it have freaking...
Vance ended up ordering a Whiz Whip, a.k.a. cheesesteak with cheese whiz, yuck, and fried
Actually
onions.
doesn't sound bad.
He then signed some autographs for people lined up around Pat's and took photos with some employees. And then they go on to tell you what their menu has. Why is this even
This is an international
story?
incident. He put down the Swiss and their cheese. Full disclosure,
During
I
the
love
2004
that
presidential
cheese, and she
election,
doesn't.
then Democrat presidential nominee John Kerry was in Philadelphia and asked for his cheesesteak with Swiss cheese instead of cheese whiz, which didn't end well. Don't come into Philadelphia and try to cater favor with us and then order Swiss cheese, which no one does in Philadelphia. So it sounds to me like Vance knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And last year, former President Donald Trump, Vance's running mate in the 2024 election, stopped at Pat's earlier this year. Trump went to Tony and Nick's in South Philly, the original location of Tony. Blah, blah, blah. What is this? What is the crime against humanity? I'm totally confused right now.
It's just the independent being independent of rationality.
The
and
Independent has lost its way.
It never had a way
It
to
is
begin
messed
with.
up. I mean, that headline.
So, yeah.
That headline was way over the top. All right, folks. Well, welcome to the new normal. I have an idea.
That's a great idea. Whatever it is, just get out of this.
The great idea is, let's end on a high note, shall we? Oh, you can do higher than that.
Loving you
is easy 'cause you're beautiful. Ba-da-da-da-da. I just scared the pets out of the room.
Fritzy's gone for the night, and so am I. But before I do...
One last story. Here on CounterCultureWISE, we may rant, we may rave, but most of all, we go against the current culture because we believe, to the core of our beings, that humans are good and the world is an amazing and beautiful place. At the beginning of our show, we give you news of the weird and wonderful, but that is just the tip of the magnificent iceberg that is our world. We now present news of the wonderfuller. We both talked on the last one so much, I don't know who's reading the last one.
You're reading the last one.
This is a make me cry one?
No, I don't know.
Because usually you're over in the corner giggling maniacally over whether you think I'm going to cry.
Because I'm looking something up for you because I know a question's going to show up. So I'm looking something up for you right now.
This heartwarming story follows the unexpected friendship between a young woman and an elderly man in Scotland. Oh, please pronounce this one. Aoife Isabella Malone? Aoife? Aoife? Aoife?
Just call her Isabella.
AIM, moved to Scotland at 19 to chase her dreams in the fashion industry. While working at a local bedding shop, she met Tommy, an 89-year-old widower who had recently lost his wife. One evening, I'm going to keep calling her Oif. I got to look this up. I got to look up how this is pronounced. Somebody help me. How do you pronounce this woman's name?
A wife.
How to pronounce whatever in the heck this name is. Because I knew I did Hermione wrong. Aoife.
Okay.
Aoife. No, here's even a YouTube video. Here we go.
Looking at how to pronounce the traditional
Irish name.
Spelled
A-O-I-F-E.
pretty much ignore the first two letters when you pronounce
Ignore the
it
first
and
two letters.
simply say
Aoife. All right. So this woman's name is Aoife. That's
Far
actually
out.
kind of pretty. One evening, Aoife extended a simple yet profound gesture of kindness that would change both their lives. From that moment on, their bond blossomed into something truly special. Aoife documented this incredible journey through a touching series of photos on TikTok. Aww.
So you read them as you go for
The slightly bizarre story of how I became friends with an 89, now 98-year-old man. And it shows a keychain with pictures of them. He's really cute.
Yeah.
Pointing
Kinda
at the
looks like
camera.
Carl Malden, the actor.
Yeah, it kind of does.
little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. When I was 19, I moved to a small town in Scotland to study fashion. A girl's got to eat, and the job ops were limited. Why she put an apostrophe in were, I do not understand. So I started working in a bookies.
That is a betting establishment.
Gotcha.
That's why I was looking it up. and I
Okay,
let
thank you.
read it, so.
A man called Tommy would come in multiple times a day. It was obvious he was really lonely. His wife had died the year before, and he was coming into the bookies for some company. Aww. He dresses nice and everything. After a few days of working there and seeing him come in so many times during my shift, I asked him if I could join him at the bingo that night. He was delighted and got all dressed up for the occasion. I mean, like actual suit, tie, the whole bit. Some of my uni friends came with me because they were like, why are you meeting some random man at night? Smart. Tommy walking into the bingo with 4 young ones on his arm was the talk of the town that week. Oh yeah, 4 hotties, yeah. That night at the bingo was the start of a beautiful friendship. I'd see Tommy when I was at work every day. I'd go to his house a few times a week. He'd cook me dinner at his house, or I'd take him out for dinner or the cinema, the pictures, he calls it. Yeah, that's what us old people call it.
Fish and chips, y'all.
That fish and chips looks so good with. We don't do the peas here in the U.S.
No. Though, except the actual pubs, the Irish.
Yeah,
the
and
English
our favorite
Irish
one in
pubs.
Vegas closed down.
Yeah,
thanks to
darn them.
COVID. I dragged him to the charity shops a lot too. He doesn't even know how to do the peace sign. He's holding up or he's trying to hold up 2 fingers. It's cute. He started to teach me how to drive, and I ended up passing my test in his car. Well, it's not there.
Oh, okay. He's posing for some.
Okay. So he's posing for a bunch of pictures. It's really cute. You have to go to the live link because this one it deletes sometimes. He started to teach me how to drive, and I ended up passing my test in his car. I've had instructors back home in Belfast, but if Tommy hadn't taken me out to practice nearly every day for months, I'd never have passed. They act like it's so hard to drive. I was driving at 14. After our first year of uni, my besties and I moved to Edinburgh and started to commute to uni. Tommy would meet us at the station every day and drive us to uni. That's so cute. He became good friends with all my friends, and we'd take him out for dinner, watch the Six Nations at his house, and even had a surprise party for him one year. Aw. When I moved to, she's doing like little bunny ears behind him and everything. He's in really nice tie, vest, the whole
He
bit.
dresses nicely.
Yeah. When I moved to Edinburgh, Tommy would come visit every few weeks. He met all my work friends at the pub I worked in, and then I would come to the shop I worked in. We'd go for dinner and sometimes go see a show, which he always loved. Over the years, he met pretty much all my friends. So there's a picture of them in a pub. They're all youngins, and he looks like their grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
And my family, too. He met my brothers and cousins in 2018. So sweet. He was my mom's +1 at my graduation in 2019. Aww. Not long after I graduated, I found out I'd gotten a job in NYC. We spent our last night sitting on a bench in St. Andrew's Square in Edinburgh, sharing earphones, listening to Frank Sinatra. Aww. I wasn't sure how long I'd be in America, so I was scared I wouldn't see him for years, and I'd say he felt the same. While Aoife was in NYC, COVID hit. She was worried about him being in isolation, so she came up with a plan to shower him with love. I posted about him on Instagram to ask people if they'd send him a card for his 95th birthday, and it went pretty viral. He received thousands of cards, presents, and cakes from people all over the words.
Probably all over the world.
School children wrote him letter as a project sent by their teachers. Aww, this is so sweet. And I taught him how to do the peace sign. He finally gets it right. He finally gets it right. Here they are sticking their tongue out at the camera. He's 98 now, 99 next month, and I get to see him every 6 weeks or so. He's in a care home now, but he's still as sharp as the day I first met him. The end.
That's really sweet.
That is, I love that story. It's like she got a grandpa, you know? Yep. I wish I had a grandpa. That is a really sweet story. Well, folks, believe it or not, we have come to the end of another CounterCultureWISE show. I hope you had as much fun as we did. I know it was a little cheesy.
A good time. It was. We even got to sneak cheese a few extra times.
What, cheese? Yes. Like Fritzy was thrilled.
Yeah.
Yes, and Jim's often on his way to bed because he has to be up at the crack of ass in the morning, and I'm going to go make something with cheese.
I sneaked a couple of Fritzy bait.
Fritzy bait, otherwise known as string cheese, yes.
She loves string cheese.
Guys, befriend somebody. Somebody you never would have thought that you'd befriend. You'll learn a lot, ask a lot of questions, and just let them talk. And for the next week or so, enjoy some cheese amongst friends, and we will see you next week.
CounterCultureWISE is a Stormcat production.
Thank you for joining our growing family of listeners. All links from the show are available on our website, CounterCultureWISE.com. Find our archives on any of your favorite podcast hosts.
We engage in satire, commentary, and generally laugh at the ridiculousness of our crumbling society. Our only medical or financial advice is to not follow any financial or medical advice given by podcasters.
Our animations, interviews, Holy Crap segment, and other videos are put out on BitChute and Rumble, and only in part on YouTube because they hate free speech.
Our show is entirely funded by listeners like you. Visit our ever-expanding merch store or our Subscribe Star, where you can get outtakes, extra videos, and sneak peeks.
If you would like to be a guest on our program, feel free to contact us via our website. Just click on the link at the top that says, "Be a guest on our show."
For more fun and cat pics, please visit our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. For complaints about our show, please fill out the ID10T form on our website, and we will give it the attention it deserves.
Meanwhile, no matter how cruel the world may be around you, always remember the importance of kindness. Be kind to each other, be kind to animals, and be kind to yourself. See you next week.